Here we go. Welcome to episode 2, season 2 of the OurTeam podcast. Back with our all new and improved format. We had a blast last week, guys. Like the questions you sent in, it just made the whole experience way more fun than it used to be honest. Season 7 is here, so it's going to be a big one. So I'm joined by Josh, Jacob, and someone else. Not the Josh that you think. Jacob is here, and we've got like a return of the most popular co-host in history. So let's start with Jacob. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm not doing too bad. You know, it's Friday, new season in 2K. The sun's shining here in Michigan. So, hey, man, I'd be dumb to complain. I can't complain a bit, man.
Yeah, you got your chapstick going as well. I just found that.
Yes, sir. Just got out of the shower, man. That's the beauty of work from home. I can shower after I work.
W. So we have a Josh, but not the usual Josh. I'd say it's an upgrade, to be fair. We've got IJJosh. How you doing, man?
Not doing too bad. I think I am also the improvement on the old Josh, but he'll be back. He'll be back. He shall be back.
Your hair is way better, for sure. Your hair.
I would agree as well, despite what DBG thinks.
Yeah, did get a bit roasted last week. Jacob, you got on the unlimited grind quick this time. I've never seen you jump like that.
Get a little couple games in this morning. I just wanted to test the waters, and yeah, it's there's some sweaty squads out there at the moment. So everyone's 6-10 now. So yeah, it's going to be a fun season.
How's the waters?
That was pretty average. Like I thought it was going to be Sweat City, but
my
servers. I'm blessed with my servers. You know, like I would hate to be in America, bro. I don't know how you play on your damn server right now. Skill-based matchmaking. That must be ridiculous.
I mean, you got 2 Europeans and 1 American, so
Yeah, I mean, I actually know more about the other servers than most people think because, like, my favorite 2 streamers when I first got into, like, I've always played 2K, but when I got, like, back into the Twitch scene for the first time in years, like, my 2 favorite streamers, one was from Australia and one was from Ireland. So, like, I saw so much gameplay, just days of gameplay on those servers, so I kind of have a really good outlook on it.
Yeah, it's quite nostalgic, I think, playing online with 2K. Takes me back to the dial-up days, you know, just a better time in my life.
I was wondering where you were going with that when you said nostalgic.
Yeah, you know that really annoying noise that used to go on for 30 seconds? I could hear that in the background, like some trauma.
I think I'm too young for that, I'll be honest.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, that was a shot for sure. I'll take that. All right, that's fine. We'll get revenge later. Guys, please like and subscribe. We are so close to 1,000 subs. It's not even funny. We're like 60 subs away. That's where we're at. So, one more sub. Are you guys all subscribed? I'm going to start asking this question.
Give me 2 seconds.
Well, we got another subscriber, guys. Look at that. We're up to 970.
Be like Josh, guys. Be like Josh. Go subscribe.
I've been subscribed for a while.
Yeah, I'm definitely subscribed to the channel.
There you go. You guys just setting the standard. Look at you guys. Yeah, cool. Let's move on, guys. So, season 7 is here. It's only dropped a few hours ago. I'll be honest, I haven't really processed it. I'm going to process it, I think, while we're on this podcast a little bit. But things have changed. So I thought what we do is we'll play a game called W, L, or N, right? So we've got to decide whether this is a win, a loss for 2K, or an N is like, no one cares, really. That's basically where we're at. Expecting a few of those. So let's start with Vince Carter as the XP reward. W, L, or N, guys?
I'm going to start off and say it's a big L, a big, ginormous L. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. And it's pretty obvious from my perspective. And now the biggest thing to note is everybody has a different outlook on 2K, what they play the game for and all that kind of stuff. Some people care more about the card itself than the actual ability of said card. And realistically, I think the community disliked that J.R. Smith card out of all the level 40 cards the most. And the reason being is he was a 6'6" guard with a mediocre jump shot that didn't do much better than a replacement you could find on the auction house for 100K. And I think that's exactly what we get with Vince Carter. It's another 6'6" guard with a mediocre jumper that you could replace on the auction house pretty easily. Yeah. If he could play point guard even, it would help his case. But look this way. His secondary position, small forward. We got Thon Maker today that can play small forward. Like,
yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
I mean, if you're looking for the better option in game, it's pretty clear.
I mean, that
what it
matchup
is.
would look ridiculous on the court.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my opinion. I think it's an N, but that I am that guy that you just spoke about, where it's like a personal thing to me. I own 2 basketball jerseys. One is Vince Carter's Raptors jersey, and the other one is Hakeem's Rockets jersey. I said at the start of the year, like probably the first video I released this year, there's a handful of cards that I would grind for. This is when I wasn't even doing level 40. I'm just a big fan of Vince, and I'm definitely going to get that card. Like, there's a lot of cards that came out today, which we'll get onto in a bit, that I really like for personal reasons. One that I'm like heavily associated with. We'll get onto that in a bit. I think it's an N. I agree with everything Jacob said, but honestly, like I'm glad there's a decent Vince card.
Yeah. It's still an L just because he's 6'6" as well. Like, come on, you can't do back-to-back 6'6" point guards, which is what you'll want to play him at, because the 2 guards going to be 6'10". By the time you 2 weeks from now, there's going to be 6'10", 6'9" shooting guards, small forwards, like legit ones. So I just don't know. That's an L to me. They could have won a lot better.
Vince is down bad. Vince is down bad. Come on, Josh.
That's all right. I'll champion him. It's fine. I'm under the impression of like I like cards that are personal to me. Yeah. If that kind of makes sense. So, like when I play 2K, I'm mainly like Duncan, and obviously he is the king of Duncan. So I'm sort of like that. So in terms of like the actual card, I'd give it probably like an N. But in terms of the actual format of getting him, I'll give that a W.
W.
Just because
let's go.
You can literally get the card whenever you want now. You're not held back by 2K. You can literally get it whenever you want.
That part, the XP thing is a W. But I will say, the counter argument to that is not every card needs to be a 7-foot Curry sliding base 98 demigod. But if I'm gonna put in 35 hours of offline gameplay to get the card, he better be he better be able to do everything I want him to do.
We are in this like weird point now where it just seems like every card that's announced, we kind of go, oh well, if they made him a point guard, he would have been usable. Like, it's every card, almost every card. It's like,
single time.
There's probably 5 exceptions. Very Kukoc. There's probably 5 exceptions over the last 6 weeks where we don't just go, right, if he was point guard, he'd be a great card. Like, not every card can be a point guard. I think what Josh brought up actually is very interesting because, like, Jacob, I know you said you have like an understanding of the servers here, so you probably know how bad they are. I mean, they are horrendous. I've never played 2 games of Unlimited back-to-back that feel like I'm playing the same game. Like, learning a release is not a thing online in the EU server. Like, it's just completely different every time. So I think there probably are cards that are more suited to different servers as well. If you are playing on a strong server, you can 3-hunt, you can quick stop, all of that stuff. Like, you just can't do a lot of that stuff on the EU server 50% of the time.
There's a big reason why Showtime is the best badge in the game, especially in EU servers, because you need it on your players.
Yeah.
You need that sharp takeover on EU servers. Like,
I'm literally like that now. Like, I'll play the first 2 minutes of the game and decide what I'm going to do for the rest of the game. Fortunately, I've got Ben Simmons now. I should probably tell you guys this. So I lost my mind the other day. Like, I legit had a breakdown. I played 3 games of Unlimited, and I played the same script 3 games in a row. And ironically, I played the same script again today, right? So I'm up by 20 at the half, and my players literally turned into bronzes. Like, they just couldn't do anything. If you go on my Twitter, you will see a game where I was up by 20 at the half, and I didn't hit a 3 for the second half.
I did see that.
So I was running a free squad, and I basically flipped and dropped to like 1.5 million MT on a new squad, and it's goated, and I'm having fun with it. And it doesn't matter how the server is, you still ain't stopping Ben Simmons. Like, he's just a beast. Cool. Let's move on to Elgin Baylor. So Elgin's limited card. W, L, or N for Elgin. It's got the X and base, which seems to have piqued some people's interest.
I'll start and say that is a ginormous W. Like, that is a huge, huge, huge W. By far the most card that I'm looking forward to. Obviously, Elgin Baylor passed away this year, which is very unfortunate. It's going to be a great card to use. Like, some people might say like 6'5", that's too short. There's going to be giant people out there. Yeah, well, D-Wade was 6'3" last year, and if you knew how to play the game, he was the best card that you could use until Gwen Rice came out. And that's because there's no value that you can place on a card that's going to score the ball from the 3-point line better than anybody else in the game. And I think he'll be just that. He's the first card in the game with X and base on very quick. On next gen, it's either X and base or Ray Allen for the best jump shot in the game. It's a preference, really. And we've had a lot of Ray Allen based cards come out recently. Pistol Pete, Tony Kukoc, Schmeichel Red, and like realistically, the only 3 hunting option that we had for X and base was Luka. And everybody knows how great that Luka is. Elgin Baylor is essentially Luka, but with like a lot of defense. And that's what I'm curious to see, because like whatever the Kawhi defensive stance is, we never know if a card's going to get that like Danny Ferry did until people actually use it in game. That never shows up in the database. Like that's like deep code into the game. And if he has that, or just the ability to be decent enough on defense, I think that he could be potentially the best card in the game for me as a 3 hunter. Like,
for the way you play, for the way you play, he's cracked out for sure.
Yeah, he could be like the better Pistol Pete for me. You know what I mean?
He went ham with that card for a while.
He seems like he's an in for me, just personally. That's just a personal thing to me. Like that card doesn't excite me or anything like that. But yeah, I can see why if he's got X and base on very quick and stuff like that. Then of course there's going to be people that are going to be really, really good with that if you're a 3 hunter and stuff like that. But otherwise, personally.
Cool. Josh?
I'm teetering on the N and W just because it is Luka Doncic's release on very quick. So, like literally, I'm sure I've played like 800 games without Luka. Like he's probably my favorite card in the game for like longevity. So, and even the thing with like his height, like I've seen people run Luka at a point, shooting guard, and that was like, it's an issue, but it's not like, I don't think it's like a massive issue. So to speak. But overall, he just looks like a really, really strong card. Like, to be fair,
for once, for limited, that's good.
Oh, dude, literally,
finally,
when they updated Rashard Lewis's signatures after you couldn't get the card anymore,
that was pretty brutal. Like,
I was not amused. Was not amused. So
not the first time they've done that.
Thankfully, it's not like they like made him anything that you can't replace, but the fact they did it well after he was no longer available is pretty bad. Like,
that is tough.
Signatures are huge. They are huge.
Thankfully they go on Baylor off the get-go though. So it could be a good card.
I'm going to give it a W because Elgin passed away. I think it's a nice touch from 2K. That's the main reason. The jump shot is good. If I was just looking at it objectively, I'd probably give it an N. The reason is I think we're going to get better cards by then. Like, this is just limited form. I feel like it's just Groundhog Day. Like, every podcast we've done on the first day of the season, we've been hyped about the limited card. Once we get there, it's just garbage. And it's garbage because it's been outdated. Are we going to be shocked if we see a 6'10" shooting guard with X and base and very quick in the next 4 weeks? 4 weeks from now is June.
Yes and no. So. I think we're very liable to see 6'10" shooting guards like KD, but they seem to be pretty conservative with who they're giving that XM base to. It's only 3 cards in the game that have it: Luka, Kermit, and Jameson. So that's like one card per season. Oh, Fat Lever, yep. But that's like one card per season on average that we're getting a player with XM base, and it's one of the best jump shots. There's not very many good jump shots on next gen. There's a lot of load ups and stuff. So I think it's just really important to have that jump shot,
I just don't know, man. I just think where we're going to be at that point, like mid-June is like, we're GOAT card, signature card, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be in that part of the game.
We'll know, we will know when it's in-game. We'll know when it's in-game when X and base starts coming out on cards. It's pretty much the tail. Once we see a few cards get that, then we know it's time to.
Was it around that time we got the shooting guard Porzingis last year? Like, if you've got that shooting guard Porzingis on that Elgin, it doesn't matter what jump shot he's got. He's literally a foot taller than him.
You would think so, but you can just change matchups and everything like that. And I think that like anybody that does defense is pretty non-existent on next gen anyways. It doesn't really matter who you're running. So on next gen, it's kind of like I'm totally okay with running a 6'5" player on the court like Pistol Pete, or a 6'5" player like Elgin Baylor, because we're not getting a stop anyways. Let's be honest. If we get a stop, it's pretty lucky. So like I just want to be able to make sure on the other end I can score the ball. And like having those S tier jump shots mean, okay, I come down the court, sit behind a screen, boop, 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 get my 3-pointer. We go down the other end. So what if somebody throws the ball down on top of my 6'5" point guard? I'll go get a 3. Like, that's kind of got to be my mindset on next gen, just like offensive heavy. I don't want to play that way. I like defense, but it's...
You can say the same thing for current gen too, though. It's the same thing. It's just algo, whoever hits the most whites. Like, so you want releases that you can green with the most at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I think people should aim for now. It's not even really about skill or anything like that. Just find the releases that you can actually green with the most, because you'll probably win the game.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's just...
That was one of the first bits of advice you gave me, Jacob, because like Jacob kind of made me a competent MyTeam player is probably the way I'd put it. But one of the things he said is like, he said just make sure every player in your team's got a similar release. That's what he says. Like if all 10 players have got a similar jump shot, you're just gonna have a much better time and things. And I did try and do that for a bit. Like I need to go back to it, to be honest, because it was good advice. Yeah. I'm all over the place now.
Same, to be honest. Like I've kind of just lost all of that. I just use whoever, obviously for fun. But if I used everyone with a very same release, I just don't know how I would miss, because then it's just all the same thing. It's just the same.
You
rhythm.
use MyTeam now, so like you're basically just using whoever I've got.
Yeah, I'm just a rhythm shooter too on the game. Like I'm not no splash with just, he can just green like I've never seen before. So it's more, you got to find the rhythm in the game. And I think that is all up to jump shots. So if you're X and base, God with that, once you got a whole team with that, I just don't know how you miss. It's really just 2K if you're missing.
Yeah, they have been like over the top with a few releases this year, right? Like the Ray Allen jump has been on a lot of cards. There is examples of like really good jumpers that they've just kind of got a bit carried away with. It wouldn't surprise me to see the Trey Burks of base 98s and you know the X.
Has anyone got Zion's release, the original release? What's Zion's original release?
29.
You know, the diamond card.
Oh, I missed that card so much.
Yeah, it's the same. It's Chris Bosch has it.
West Unsold had it, didn't they? I remember.
Yeah, that release is nice. That was one of the best.
So much, such a good release.
Yeah,
it was good last year too.
I was so sad when the Dark Matter didn't have it. I was just like, what? It was perfect.
Yeah.
I played more games with that diamond than any other card this year.
Yep, same.
Easily.
Good.
Let's move on to Bailey Howell. I'm going to make this the last kind of reward card. We'll come back to them probably through the other questions the other guys have got. Bailey Howell in TT Online.
Well, I don't touch that game mode, so for me that's a L. For me, that's an L. I don't touch that game mode. So.
You'll get the card though, because I'll get it.
Yeah,
I've got like
I'll get to play
30 spares of all the TTO rewards, like just sitting
to me, L. To me, L.
That's an L. Josh?
I think it's an N just because it looks like a card we've seen many times before. But if he has a triple threat online card, because it's the only game mode I play, obviously I'm more than likely to get him. So
yeah,
I could have a bit of fun with him, but he just doesn't look anything unique, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I would say it's just like somewhere between an L and an N. It just depends on where you're at as a team, because he plays small forward, power forward. And after today, especially, that's such a saturated position slot. Like, for me, Danny Ferry and Kukoc have to play the 2-3 spots. Like, they're too good not to. Bailey Howell is not better than either of those guys. And then for the 4 slots, Bailey Howell 6'7". I got Bull. Anybody can have Bull. He's like 60K. And then for the other 4, there's Giannis, Bull, LeBron, Jonathan Isaac, Anthony Davis.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate now, because he's got Trey Burks' release, right? He's got T-Mac's release. So surely, if he's slightly undersized, he should still be a good card based on the logic that we had for Elgin.
Yeah, kind of.
The thing about it is, though, I would say not so much, because he's got to play the 3 or the 4 in a 5-out setting. Normally, at the 3 or the 4, he's going to be in the corner more times than not. And at the corner, you can kind of
differently.
You kind of afford to not have those S-tier shots on some of your corner sitters. I mean, obviously it's going to help, but out of the corner, it's pretty easy to shoot anyways, because you're going to be open off the catch a lot more compared to off the dribble, where it's harder to green, harder to get open. Yeah. So it's more or less like my corners can be Giannis, and then I'll have like a huge upgrade of being able to get to the rim from the corner, a huge upgrade on being able to play the passing lanes on defense, which isn't going to happen, but if it does, Giannis will do it. So it's just kind of one of those things. And also, I think Trey Burke release is kind of overrated. It's kind of load up City in 21. It used to be really good to me, but it's a lot of load ups now with DeRozan.
I just look at it. Yeah, I just look at those as like the releases and stuff matter, but you have to also be able to like move with the player properly. Because like I'm using Ben Simmons now. Obviously, I've only used him for these like 4 or 5 games, and like his dribbling compared to like Hando is like it's like night and day difference. If you know what I mean, like. I can't really 3-hunt with Simmons. He can shoot the 3 ball and he can still like peekaboo 3, but it's not the same. It's so different.
Are you using
just
him on
because
next
of how
gen?
he dribbles? I haven't used him on next gen now.
Use him on next gen.
Okay,
I think you're gonna have a good time.
Current gen he feels. Current gen he's so like he's fast, but he's so slow. If I use Luka, like Luka feels like. Man, he moves so fast on current gen.
Jakel, my squad is next gen made, and I'm on current gen. Like, literally, try it out. You have the time of your life. I think Bailey's a W on current gen, and I think he's an N on next gen. That's what I think. He is a really good current gen card, especially with the limitations with Curry slide and all of that. Like, he is actually very, very useful. If he could play shooting guard, he'd be a W for me. I think he's probably the best card they've had in TTO. Also, Jacob, it's interesting you say something. I said this in my last video. I picked up, so I had T-Mac, right?
Yeah.
When he came out. And then I got DeRozan because everyone's like, tactical downgrade. I was kind of watching all the influencers. He's better because, he doesn't have steady on current gen, all of this stuff. So I picked up DeRozan. And honestly, it was like 2 completely different cards. I literally couldn't understand. They had the same jumper, but the experience of using those cards was just completely different. Like, I was dominant with T-Mac and I was trash with DeRozan. I literally sold it. A few days
I remember
later.
you saying that. Yeah. I really want to know why. I mean, the release timings are on the same. Yeah, I really want to know why.
I couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
It might literally just be a mental. It could just be a mental thing. Like you just.
Do you know what's funny though? I picked him up again. And I got that idea that he's like a T-Mac clone out of my head. I just ran him as a DeMar DeRozan card. Like, this is what I'm talking about, sort of psychologically. And now I'm just killing the game with him. Like, he's dominating. I think the fact that I kind of saw him as T-Mac and I was kind of 3-hunting with him in the way that I would with T-Mac, I just started using DeMar as a DeMar card and suddenly just felt like he's doing way more for me on the court. Like, trying to turn him into a T-Mac. I don't know if it's just that inch or that, slight difference in wingspan. Like, it felt like trying to use him like T-Mac, like getting in the lanes the way that you would use a T-Mac card. DeMar just didn't feel as effective that way. So I started using him like the card he was. Like, I had to get that kind of idea that he's a T-Mac clone like out of my head. And now he feels like
I don't like that. I don't like that whole thing too. I just worry about what the card is.
For what it's worth, like there's like timing thresholds for certain heights on certain jumpers, even if it's on very quick. If you have 98 on very quick on a 6'3" player versus 98 on very quick on a 6'10" player, it's not the exact same timing down to a millisecond. And it's all threshold based. It's not like it goes up like very small marginally on each inch added onto the height. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but I think it's like 6'3" to 6'5" get a certain timing. And then like it might be like 6'5" to 6'7" or 6'8". I don't know what it is, but there's a good chance that the difference in height caused T-Mac to shoot a touch slower than DeMar DeRozan, even though they have the same jump shot on the same timings. And maybe you were not really, you know what I mean? Like that could have been one of the reasons
just
why.
That little bit could throw you off though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You're so
especially on our servers. Yeah.
I mean, it's milliseconds in difference, and it's crazy when you really break it down like that. But.
And you saying that Bailey Howell's the best TTO online card. That's a shot at Josh because Julius Randle sucks.
What?
I'm gonna tell you that right now. I used Julius Randle and he sucked.
I didn't realize he woke up and chose violence, but okay. I wasn't expecting that, but okay. Right, okay.
It's weird that Josh isn't here because he got some of his favorite cards today as well. It's a W.
So many.
Dude, when I saw RJ on the card, I lost my mind.
RJ the dentist Barrett, that RJ.
Oh, dude, I lost my mind when I saw RJ on the card. I have a Clips channel, and that's literally just been posted on our Clips channel, and it's gonna live there forever. Oh, I'm so happy.
He's literally just an updated Terry, isn't it? That's what he is.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's me.
He's just his card that looks terrible. It looks like I made it, but like his actual card is amazing.
Have you seen the Kuzma card art?
yeah. Jeez. They must have just there must be AI accepting those requests or something. I don't know. Must have 2K AI.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
They made those cards in the dark for sure. I don't know what they're doing. It's
I don't know who 2K works at supports the Clippers because they've done it dirty, but then like that's just a bad card art.
Right, let's run through the new set. Let's do W, L, or N on the entire set. How about that? AD, Jar, Thon, LeBron, Isaac, RJ, Roko, Pokashevsky. Shout out to DBG. Done that again, didn't he? Mo Bamba as well. Yeah, like thoughts on this set?
I'm a W. It's W.
Yeah, I'll say overall, like I'm more how will these cards play in game oriented. I'll say it's a W. But I will say one of my pet peeves is like them making players that don't deserve to have juice cards like reoccurring themes. Yeah. So like I think it's cool that Danny Ferry and Terry Dishlinger were like added as like these no-name demons into the game this year. But it is kind of tiring when somebody like Thon Maker, who unfortunately doesn't have a future in the NBA, gets like these juicy cards back-to-back years at 99 overall. And he was a demon in 2K17. Yeah. So it's like, why? There's thousands of players they could choose from. So it's like, the game already gets stale year to year. Like, it's already repetitive year to year. A lot of people will say like 2K is a copy and paste. And then they just dump that even more on top of there, where for a third year in a row, I have to load up and see the same no-name player get a gas card.
Yeah, it's I mean, that thought is ridiculous.
Mo Bamba
you're right,
again.
Jacob.
Roko again. Like, Thon Maker
why did
again.
Why did they just put Thon in the retro packs from last year? Why did they have to create a new card that's like OP, right? If you're going to make it a throwback. Now, you're right. It's just a joke now. It's like an ongoing joke. Like,
it's like a reoccurring joke. And that's funny the first time you hear it, like last year, then you hear it again and you're like, dude, just shut up. We get it. Like,
like
you know
Bonga.
what I mean?
Yeah, Bonga will be the same once they do another mean one of him.
Bonga will also
like,
get
come
another
on.
gas card. And there's thousands of players that just like are like maybe not straight up NBA legends, but like really, really good that never get more than one card in the game. For example, it's really easy to like look up my Pistons because like obviously I know the history of the team more than any other team in the NBA. Like Bill Laimbeer has never been a part of NBA 2K meta at all. Like he's never had like more than like a Ruby or Amethyst card. And we're talking like about a multiple-time NBA champion and all-star. But Pistons bench warmer from last year, Thon Maker is going to get a 99 card in 20. He's going to get a 99 card in 21, and he'll probably get a 99 card next year. It's like,
do you know what the ridiculous thing is? There's like, especially when you look at players like Bol, he had like a good bubble, right? Or like whatever it was leading up to bubble. Like, there's players in his draft class that don't have good cards that are killing it in the NBA right now. Like now, right?
Yeah.
LaMelo, Wiseman, Edwards, like where are the cards? Where are they?
Yeah.
You're giving him one of the best cards in the game. What are you doing? Like,
could you theoretically, obviously, this is a fan favorite set, and Thon Maker has been a fan favorite in 2K before. So could you realistically think of that argument of it?
Okay, kind of, but I feel like there's so many fan favorites. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that look at the set. And,
like I don't know why there wasn't
players in there.
I don't know why there wasn't a LaMelo. Like LaMelo,
why isn't there a vote? Why isn't there like a proper vote for this? Because like I get that the community will vote. The community will probably vote the Thon Makers in the world. Like,
I think there's too many trolls in this community that will end up with Thon Makers.
Yeah, the Patrick Ewing, I might actually get it this time.
But what I'll say is I think that this fan favorite set is like a fan favorites of 2K20 and not a fan favorites of 2K21. Like Roko, like didn't really matter at all this year. Thon Maker obviously didn't really matter at all this year. It's like these cards were fan favorites for players that played in 2K20. So like here's a little different perspective. If they did that this year, 2K21, fan favorites for 2K21. All right, cool. Let's get a point guard Hondo in there. Sweet. All right, cool. Let's get a Terry Dishlinger in there, an upgraded Terry Dishlinger. All right, cool. RJ Barrett, yeah, that can stay. A lot of people have been asking for him. Poku, he can stay. Yup, he's new to the game. He was a fan favorite when that Ruby card came out. All right, cool. And now who else we got from like early game? Dr. J. A lot of people like that pink diamond card. You could slide him in there.
Yeah.
you know, like those were like the early game 2K21 favorites. I remember like you posted a picture like or a thing that was like, these are my favorite early game 2K21 cards. So like instead of basing the set around people like cards that people liked in 20, the Thon Makers and Rokos of the world, base the set around people that people liked early game.
Actually, that actually liked
to kind of like keep this year going. You know what I mean? Instead of just like keep the names of this year going rather than like bounce back to the big names of 2K20.
Yeah, it's lazy. It's just lazy. It's lazy. Yeah, Jacob. So I agree. I think fan favorites on the first day of the season is an L for me. It's an L because they needed to make the packs juiced because it was the first day. If they just hadn't done it on the first day, we could have had a legitimately interesting fan favorite set. And I don't want the fan favorite set to be like this OP set. I don't need it to be like what you're saying. There are cards from the beginning of the season, like you said. I put up that Twitter post a few weeks ago saying like, what are your fan favorite cards? And there was just like a lot of cards that, you know, just were reoccurring in that thread. People were talking about Gus Williams back in the day, like Allen Houston. Like, I feel like a lot of the fan favorites cards should come from the first couple of seasons. They should have held back on Dark Matter Steph. Because, you know, that was the ultimate fan favorite card. Like, it's an L for me. I think as a content drop, it's fine. It's like an N. I'm not really bothered about it. I'm glad they only released 1 point guard and he's not really that usable. So my Simmons and Luka have held value. That's a W.
I get that there's RJ Barrett's the Terry pretty much, but why isn't Terry in those damn picks? Tell me that. He was like the favorite man. Everyone went nuts over that card. So
think about the cards they could have put in. Wayne Embry. Like, how epic would that have been?
Exactly.
So many cards.
It like if they were to do that, it like rewrites the storyline of MyTeam for 21. It kind of like pays more homage to this year's game. And instead, it's like, we're just going back to 2K20 now. Here comes another Thon Maker. Here comes another, what's his name there? Mo Bamba. And like, I get it. Those guys have really unique player builds. And that's why a lot of people like them in those years. I understand that. But there's just so many people that they could make cards for. I just don't. I kind of get tired of seeing the same bums on my screen. Like, you know what I mean? And like, I don't like saying bums. They're NBA players. Like, that's just not the right way to put it. But the one other thing too is like Cam Reddish, right? A lot of people are gonna say like Cam Reddish, like he's kind of a bum too. Honestly, you know what I mean? IRL, and I get it. It's like he's got good defense and Paul George base. Well, you know, they can do the same thing.
That card is coming, right? Like Cam Reddish, the Diamond Cam last year was my favorite card in the game. And I liked when they put him in the fan favorites. The Pink Diamond this year, I couldn't care less about. Honestly, I don't care about it. So if you put him in fan favorites now, it's not logical. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think they're like, because they obviously have no plan with how they're going to spread this out every 2K, because really we should only be getting a card we got this year like Terry. We should be getting him again, I reckon, like 2-3 years. So it's a bit like refreshing. Otherwise, if you have it year after year, then you're using the exact same cards. You might as well just keep us on the same MyTeam for 3 years. Like, that's how I look at it.
Copy and paste.
Get back.
Copy and paste.
It's literally copy and paste.
Yeah. So
people ask for another Dino Raja this year, and we'll get another Dino Raja this year. I understand I understand Dino was pretty good, but there's been a lot of pretty good players in the NBA. You know, they just get one card and they're done for the year. I know last week, like DBG mentioned, Jared Jeffries gets one card per year. That's it. Yeah. Like, okay, 1 year, let's juice up Jared Jeffries. And then after that year's done, leave him there because he wasn't that good. Like same thing with as
soon as they make him good, they'll just put him in the next 2K as well.
It's like these reoccurring players that just keep coming back that weren't all that great. And like nobody has emotional attachment to like most of these guys outside of the game, you know? Like it's easy, like I was like, it's easy to look at my Pistons, like Rip Hamilton, Bill Laimbeer. These guys are like NBA champions that like never get a card that will hold a candle to Thon Maker. And it's not even the player build thing. They could make a juicy Bill Laimbeer if they wanted to. The dude was like 7 foot. They can make a 99 speed Bill Laimbeer. It's more realistic than a 99 3-pointer Thon Maker. Like
the logic is just cracked. I mean, Kukoc is better than Pickett. Like, what are we doing? Like, what is your logic, TK? What is your logic?
Yeah.
Please explain it to us. All right, listen, I'm going to move on to the biggest W of the year. Because fan favorites, is really relevant to what I'm about to say.
Here we go.
Yeah. So, 2 things I've said the most in the last 4 weeks is I cannot stand unlimited. I can't stand it. I'm playing it now. I cannot stand it. Like, I do not want to see it. I don't want to turn it on. I don't want to play a quarter. I'll go skill-based matchmaking, 68-0. The mode is an absolute disaster, and I don't want to see it. And I've said it non-stop for 4 weeks. The other thing I've said is, please, can we have a dark matter Larry Johnson in the game? The fact that they made, if anyone tells me that 2K are not watching this podcast, you're wrong. This has got to be 14 weeks probably where we've said something, then they've immediately done it. Like, I can name probably 10 examples off the top of my head right now, but that is a troll from 2K. Message received.
That's a troll. That's a troll to me. They put 2 Knicks players in Unlimited for 12-0. And that's 2 Knicks players I can't get. It's so, literally, I saw Larry Johnson. I was like, oh, that's cool. Then it's still Unlimited. I was like, all right, that was cool. I'm not getting it now.
It was so funny when they announced it. Like,
so annoying, man.
Have you guys ever watched The Office? Have you watched The Office?
Which one?
I watched a little bit.
Ryan creates this app called Woof in The Office, right? So basically what it is you basically send like one message and it hits all your devices and all your social medias at the same time. So he's sitting in this room and he sends a woof, and basically like his room turns into like a Christmas tree with all the lights. There's 100 different noises going on. His phone starts ringing, like his apps go off on his computer, everywhere else. That's basically what happened when they announced Larry Johnson. Every one of my devices went absolutely nuts. My phone vibrated to the point that it died. It actually killed my phone. I got a call from Josh. Like, I was working. This is all happening while I'm working. I get a call from Josh, and I'm like, I got to see what's going on. Like, I was like, did I get cancelled? Like, is it banned? What happened? What happened? And he's like, they made Larry Johnson the unlimited reward. I was like, the cheeky bastards. How dare you?
That's gold. Yeah. At least, that's why I said I'm happy that someone in like our little community got a card that they wanted, because like I feel like no one's asked for Mikhail, no one's asked for Cedric Maxwell, obviously cards like that. Michael Red, don't even get me started on that.
Jacob, let's put that in perspective. I'm the only one who wanted that card.
hey, you might have started something though. They might be like Larry Johnson fans now.
What did they say? Even a broken clock's right twice a day.
we really need to think about who we would have asked for next season. Let me know, guys, by the end of the podcast. I'll start putting it out there every week.
Just someone in the 2000s or something like that's really good. Like, that's all I want.
Well, I'll say, it's always great to get like your personal favorite card in the game. I mean, look behind me. I got Ben Wallace on my wall. Like, yeah, it's fun when you get your favorite card in the game. Like that's always a good feeling. But what I will say is like, I'm pretty sure that the stars are starting to kind of align, and I'm realizing that Jaquel gave you that tip to start using players with good jump shots after you use Notorious Johnson, because he's got jump shot 13, and that shot stinks, man. I am not trying to use jump shot 13 in May, man. Like, come on.
Do you know what's funny? Like, it's funny because we've like on the podcast, we've kind of breathed things into life for each other. Like, everything that we're kind of known for is not because we did something, it's because someone else noticed it and just started taking the piss out of it. Like, that's what happened. And the Larry Johnson situation came from one video that I did. And it was on the day that Dark Matter Jordan dropped. The guy had Dark Matter Jordan that I ran into in Unlimited. And he would have pulled him because it hadn't been 4 hours, right? So he would have just dropped a ton of VC to try and get Michael Jordan. And I literally cooked him with Larry Johnson, Diamond Larry Johnson. and Josh just turned it into a meme. My revenge for that is 8K47, just to be clear. Like, him falling asleep is my revenge. But I didn't really care about Larry Johnson until people told me that I cared about Larry Johnson. Now I really care. Yeah.
It's when, I'm the same. Like, if someone goes and tells me, oh, you can't use that card, I'm going to be like, this card's top 5. Straight away. Like, even if he ain't, I'm going to just say it.
Because, that's literally been me the entirety of using, well, I'll call him Censored Barnett, because, you can't really say his full name. Everyone knows. Richard Barnett. Like, literally, his jump shot has made me fall in love with that card. He's not even a good card, but I love him to pieces.
He might as well do a cartwheel and release it. In soccer, for my American friends, it's called football.
Soccer.
By the way. You know when they do the throw in, they do like the handstand throw in. I want a card in the game with like a full 360 somersault release.
Yeah, you know what 2K should do actually, just for like, I don't know, if like a little event or something for my team, they should add like park animations after you hit shots and stuff.
Oh God,
that would be hilarious in the game.
Yeah, a few. There are a few in the game. They're obviously not like the crazy park releases,
ones, yeah.
like, you know, the ones where you literally like fall on the ground or whatever once you make it green. But like Paul Pierce has the one where when you shoot it, he like ducks and turns around. Dame does the wave. Like they do exist in game, but they don't take full advantage of them. But
I want to see, you know, Jazz probably be on there with Larry Johnson doing the splits or something.
Yeah, honestly, I'd be totally down with that for the month of August, the last month of the game. Whatever cards they drop, like that NBA's back set, like the last drop of the year.
Yeah.
Give players like the dummy, like park green.
It'd be hilarious. I reckon for content
stuff.
I want to see Yao Ming do a cartwheel backwards. I want to see that. I got to see that.
Guys,
I got my league and Scepter.
This is something I've wanted to bring up for a while, actually. This is like one of my pet peeves with 2K, and I've never mentioned it. You know the over-the-top, like, longed out animations when you score a bucket with a player, and suddenly you're 4-on-5 at the other end? And, there's like, when are they going to fix this? Like, it's genuinely quite... Lucas dunks, honestly, he's on the hoop for, like, the next play.
It should be like Madden, where if you score a touchdown, you can flick the right stick or do something to like celebrate. It should be like that.
People would troll so. I mean, I would troll so hard if they gave me the control of that, though. Like, I would literally. I mean,
But think about like the content. That's what I'm thinking. Like, and how you said for the last month, it would be awesome to do that kind of stuff, because for content creators, that would be lit, bro. The last month of this 2K, if you start doing splits with Yao Ming,
we need to be careful here. We need to be careful because listen. What we're gonna get next year is pullable like celebration animations out of packs. Like they're gonna,
let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I don't hate the idea. Like even outside of a joke, I don't really hate the idea. I mean, the game's pretty far gone, anyways. As long as it's not like, as long as it's post 250, like I don't. The game's already kind of a joke, anyways. Like as far as
I wish you could like do that, literally flex like after you dunk or something, or like you do it though, if you know what I mean. Like that would make the game, I feel, so much cooler. Like you literally dunk on someone and then I'm the one like yelling at him and flexing.
It would replace flashballsing. That's what it would replace.
I was literally about to say that would replace.
Let's upgrade. Like that's so dumb now.
I think it'd be really cool too if they somehow coded it into the game where you were limited to it, right? Like you could do it 3 times, but then after you did it 3 times, it just stopped working or something. Or you had to be like up by like a decent like you know what I mean? Like maybe it was something that you couldn't just do every play, because like trust me. If I get that control, like I will sit there and spam it and be that guy.
Toxic Jacob out here.
That would just be hilarious.
Guys, let's move on. We got some questions. So guys, OurTeamPodcast@gmail.com is where you send your questions. Just send in a short video. Josh, you did it last week. How long did it take you to send in a question?
About 2 minutes, I think.
You got 2 minutes. You can send in a question for us next week. We're going to discuss it. Our first question is from Aiden. He sent in a question last week as well. Shout out to him. This is his question.
My question is, do you think the 4-week season is a good idea? And do you think having the level 40 card be obtainable straight away is going to be better for the game?
Okay, shout out to Aiden. Yeah, is 4-week season a good idea? And is level 40 being available straight away better for the game?
I'll just say the reason why season 5 was my favorite season is because it was shorter. So the fact that this is 4 weeks, I literally when it got announced, there was a smile from you to you. I was like, oh, thank you, because last season was so boring towards the end because it was literally like what 6-7 weeks.
Yeah,
and by the 4th week, everyone was like, oh, I wish it was a new season. Not gonna lie. So yeah, I think 4 weeks. I don't think it's perfect. I think 5 weeks is like the perfect amount, but I think it's fine.
Let me put that in perspective, right? I had this moment last season. It was probably 10 days before the end of the season, and my views started ticking down on videos, right, as everyone's did, and they kind of bounced back like it's coming to this season. And I was sitting there wondering, like, why are my views going down? Why are my views going down? What am I doing wrong? Like, do I need to fix something? And then I realized I was sitting there playing FIFA while I was having that thought process. And I was like, even I'm not playing the game and watching content. There's literally nothing to do. The game's completely dead. They couldn't have afforded for that to happen again. Like, that was bad. The last 2 weeks was really, really bad. And despite that kind of set we got towards the end of the season, I really didn't care. Like, I didn't care at all. You know,
literally,
could care less.
Literally, the second to last idol set dropped my favorite player ever, and I still didn't care about the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they dropped the Carmelo. I was like, oh, cool. I bought Carmelo, realized he wasn't that good. I was like, right, what else should we play? It's just like, it's just bad, man.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I mean, I play the game too much as is, so the quicker the season, the better. I'll be ready for season 8 in 3 weeks. Like, you know, like I think, I don't know. And honestly,
it creates a lot more like everyone's like kind of in a rush, and it'll just seem like it'll go so fast because you're just doing so
momentum,
much.
energy, things like that. There, for sure. I just can't believe how stale they let it get. Like, it's never been that bad. I can't think of a time, unless it's in between 2Ks, right? Like August. I can't think of a 10-day period where the game was that. I literally had no idea what to do.
I would die to be a fly on the wall in like a 2K MyTeam meeting like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, just to see what they were even thinking about that. Because like, I know that they are not so out of touch that they were sitting there thinking like, this is what's going to get them, guys. This right here, this is the set. Like, there's no way. I just want to know what their thought process was, because they're not tone deaf, especially like 6-Man Sam being there. I don't know. You guys probably don't know him. I still do have a pretty good relationship with him and everything, because he used to stream. So I knew him from that. And, you know, I talk to him every now and again, but I make it a point to not be the guy, because I know his DMs are already flooded with so much.
I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy. So when I talk to him currently, it's always like not 2K related stuff, because I know he's already hearing all that, you know. You know, like I might ask him how the new job's going, things like that, but I'm not going to sit there and tag him or anything like that, because he's such a good guy. But another thing is, he's not tone deaf. Like, he understands the game. I'm not going to say that he's Ty Debo level of the gameplay, but he understands the game. He knows these jumpers. He knows the animations. He knows that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? He knows. He knows.
Yeah, he knows what makes a good card and exciting content.
Exactly.
The thing is, there's someone overriding him, because I think there probably are people in that room. You're right. There probably are people. Sam is certainly one of those people that knows what we want. Yeah. The rest of the time, they just got to listen. You're clearly watching this right now, 2K. Like, we've just told you everything you need to know. Like, I'm just going to wave to them for the first time ever. Hey, 2K. Right. They do know, but there are people who just make horrendous decisions, and almost it's going to lead on to a question later. So I'm going to leave that there. Would you think of level 40 being available? That was the other part of that question. Day one.
I think it's good. Yeah.
It's awesome.
You go.
I think it's awesome. I think that like if the card was better, I think we'd see a lot more streamers kind of like in the race to try and get the first one. Since the card's a little bit underwhelming, I don't think we're going to see that, but I think that it's just cool to do something different. You know, it's just a good change of pace.
Someone needs to check on Most right now. Someone needs to check on Most Ball in right now. Because he stayed awake for 30 hours straight to do the spotlights. I really hope he doesn't do that right now.
I think he's tweeted saying he's not going to like try and race for it, so that's a bit unfortunate. But
I've seen someone.
Literally, I think me and Moss were the ones racing to do the spotlights. I think he finished first and I finished second. And I was like, oh, big sad.
He looked terrible at the end of that. He looked like he'd been on a bender for like 3 weeks. Like, it was bad. I like it. I think it's good. Like, get to do it at our own pace. I think the XP that's been released is interesting, which we're about to get a question on now. Let's move on to that question. So this question is from Neil. He sent in a question last week as well. Recurring guy is what he's got to say.
Hey guys, hopefully I'm not too late trying to get one in for the podcast. So I have a topic question. Caveman here. Oh yeah, Papa Pack. So do we really need these Series 3 cards? Like, or any, you know, they're nice to have, I suppose, for limited or whatever, but do we really need those? I feel like it's filler. That's just my opinion. That, you know, it's give some of my opinion on this. I feel like it's filler. I feel like they're just kind of putting some bloatedware like would go on a computer. You know, it just doesn't seem to fit to me. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a lot of people that like it. I don't. I just pulled a Opal Curry. Not happy. Anyways, guys are doing great. Love the podcast. Be blessed. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Neil. We appreciate the love at the end there.
Pop a peck. I love it.
I just love that you can pull an Opal Curry and be upset.
We are in strange times. I agree with everything you said, by the way.
Yeah. The only thing is, it's for Tatum, isn't it? That's what those really are for. Is that not? For the collector level?
Oh, 100%. Like
I do have a devil's advocate argument of it. As someone who spends literally all his time on the auction house, the auction house is now amazing to make MT. Like, it's literally, you can get snipes everywhere because people are just flipping players just to get rid of them for more packs. And silvers are now really expensive again, so sniping them is really easy. Golds are really expensive because no one's packing them. It's definitely filler. Like, don't get me wrong, it's definitely filler. But in terms of like, as someone who like makes a lot of MT and was getting bored of selling contracts every single day, it's just made the more auction house a lot more fun.
As an auction house guy, Josh, that has to be a ginormous W because I played 20 minutes of the game today. And the first thing I did is I saw the XP there. I'm like, all right, let me see if I can get started. And I go to the Hawks, the first team on the list. It says get how many ever 3-pointers with Silver, Kevin, Huater. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let me just go pick him up real quick and, see if I can start on these challenges. Go into the auction house. There's 2 of them. Neither of them are buyouts. They're literally both just for bid. So like,
oh Lord.
Literally,
I didn't think about it from that perspective.
All through the auction house, all of today, Klay Thompson was selling for 7K again. So I think I sniped like 8 of them for like 1 to 2K. So making loads of MT off of them. Who's his name? Jaylen Brown was selling for like 4 or 5K, sniping them for 1K every time. It's just a fun time to play the auction house right now.
I would have never thought of that. That's awesome. It makes total sense. How is an auction house guy? That's huge.
I opened so many of my old packs today and quick sold so many of those players.
Let's go.
Dude, I'm literally like every single time I play 2K, like a new one, I always try and fill out like the next set, and I try to find a quickly. Earlier, tried to quickly find him, ironically. And literally, there was 2 on the market, one 100K buy now, one 50K bid, 4 hours left. I was like,
jeez.
Okay, we'll wait on that one. But no, the other one's like, you can snipe like bronzes for like 1,000, chuck them up for like 8K. If it doesn't sell, you've only sniped it for 1,000. You can just relist it for like 2 next time you.
I'm gonna get on that before this podcast drops. Like while I'm editing,
just ruin the method for everyone. I apologize.
I'm gonna sell everything. By the way, guys, like check out Josh's YouTube. You're on Twitch now as well, right? He's got amazing methods. He's got amazing methods for
dude. Literally,
I'd be keen to watch you just stream, just doing some stuff like that. Because I don't really see it.
The amount of people that message me after I drop a method saying you've ruined this method for me, I'm just like, that's not my issue. Sorry, mate.
Please do not release a video on this before the podcast comes out. I will be heated.
You mean the video I just posted 19 minutes ago?
Oh, the one that wouldn't process. It's fake. It's fake. Happy days. Right, Series 3 cards. My opinion is this. I couldn't care less. It's not interesting to me. It's probably not going to be interesting in a week. I think for the fact that it outdated the older cards and it's kind of making the auction house interesting. That's cool. I would have this would have been like an N for me, but I'm it's an L. It's absolutely an L because of limited this week. Like,
oh yeah.
It became that cash grab, and it's obviously part of the reason the auction house is inflated. People are trying to get these like OP series 3 cards or current 3 cards. Yeah, I just limited. Limited is really starting to annoy me. We've got questions coming up on it, but the fact that they tied in limited to those series 3 cards really annoyed me. Like really annoyed me. Like it's supposed to be fun. That's not fun. Sorry.
It's supposed to be casual. It's supposed to be casual and just easy to pick up.
To be fair, there's no 5v5 game mode on this game that's fun. I'll be honest. it just doesn't exist.
Jacob, do you enjoy Unlimited? Do you enjoy it?
No, not a bit. I don't mind. I don't mind. I like to wager. I'm really big on wagering. I like to wager a lot. Couple different reasons. You can play on Hall of Fame difficulty. Is it perfect? No. Is it better than online versus sliders? A little bit. For 2, you can get a best of 3 in always. So if one game where you really do feel like things don't go your way, okay, win the next 2. Not that big of a deal. So when you're doing a best of 3 Hall of Fame wager, I think that it's far from perfect, but it's definitely better than an unlimited setting type game against somebody. And then also money's on the line, so it forces you to lock in, which also is cool because I am king of sitting there reading my Twitch chat, laughing, and unlimited, talking, whatever. Third quarter, look down, and I'm like, why is this guy close with me? What in the world is going on? Okay, I guess I gotta go do my defensive settings now. Sorry, chat. 1 minute, I gotta lock in.
You literally tell your chat to remind you, don't you? You're like, it's
like a command.
You made me a mod with the instructions. Please remind me to do my defensive settings. I'm like, did I just get employed by Jacob?
On the top of the topic that we went on last week about unlimited, like I also want them to like implement something kind of like Stage has for Park, how you can play for VC and stuff. I would love that if it was in like an unlimited type game mode. If you could like bet MT or VC that you have, I think that would create some like serious hype in the community. Yeah. And just MyTeam in general. Like that would be awesome.
That would be perfect because like the current state for me is like, you know, technically you got 2 ways looking for wagers, right? Like for one, Players Lounge, I'm sure you guys are at least somewhat familiar with that. The problem is I don't understand why. I don't understand how 90% of people that use that site are literally dumber than a box of rocks and more toxic than poison. Like it makes no sense. It's literally like the worst sub community of 2K of all time. I literally cannot fathom it. I really don't understand where they grow these people on Players Lounge. I don't know where they hang out. I don't know who they talk to, watch, nothing, but it's the worst of the worst on Players Lounge. But then also, too, I can always send out a tweet like, hey, looking for a wager. And next thing I know, I got splash wager in me. Like, that happened. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, the people that I'm not the best. How much did you lose? It's like 200K or something like that. But like that was so long ago because obviously Splash can't wager now or anything, you know. But even people you guys probably aren't familiar with that are like, you know, super competitive because like, am I the best player on next gen? Absolutely not. But with the state of the game, I feel like I can beat anybody. But most people don't feel like they can beat me. So if I do put out a tweet like that, I have the Eastbounds of the world and the Breezies and Definitives, these people that are top MyTeam players, the people that are going to go top 4 in MyTeam Madness type people hitting me up for wagers. And I don't want to wager those guys. I like my money. Like I don't want to set myself up to failure, but I'm not scared of them either because it's like I popped everybody before. It's just, you know, I'm the underdog going into most wagers I play because if I'm the one asking for a wager, why would somebody who feels like they're an underdog want to wager me? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So they need like a game mode exactly like that.
Yep. So I can load in and match up with whoever doesn't know who I am and wants to play, you know?
Yeah. 50K MT, like something simple like that would be so cool, you know? 50K on the line. That just makes that game you're playing feel like so much more. Now we play so many unlimited games that have no meaning at all. we just play them.
Yeah. I mean, I literally don't really play unlimited until after we've got the reward now, and then the skill-based matchmaking is so bad. It's like a nightmare. That was the closest I've ever come to swearing on the podcast, by the way. I was that close. Yeah, like that's how bad it is. I do not enjoy it. It's quite funny how much of our week we spend playing a game mode that we discussed. That's
so. You guys are all. I'm assuming most. Are you all 3? Have you guys all played FIFA?
Yeah.
Okay, because I never have played Ultimate Team on FIFA. I've heard a lot about the Weekend League. How does that compare? Is that kind of a more competitive mode that would be cool to implement in MyTeam?
So I think the big difference with it. You play FIFA, Josh, right?
Yeah, it's like my main game aside from
you want to
how it works is like you have 30 games in a weekend or like a 3-day weekend, and in the first game you play, you start off like at 0. So say like you win 4 games and you lose 3, so you're 4-3, you're like +1. So then you could play someone else who's 1-0, but because you're both +1, that's how you match up. So someone could be like 27-3. And someone else could be 24-0, and you'd still match up, in a sense. I think with like to like the higher like 25+, you match up against other like 28-0 and 29-0, just because then you are like the best players playing against each other. So I think that's how that works. Obviously, FIFA's toxic anyway. So they have their own mechanics that are broken. People argue with me over which game is more broken. I'd argue 2K because I can actually play a game of FIFA. Like, whereas in
can I just? It's not close. It's not close. FIFA has its issues. It's not close. FIFA
literally,
is way better than
I can barely make it through a quarter of Unlimited. I literally cannot stand the game mode.
Yeah.
No one will ever be able to convince me the skill-based matchmaking is a good thing on any game. Aside from like a actual competitive mode where skill-based matchmaking is a thing.
Choose.
The problem is, guys, and this is where FIFA just immediately has an edge, is FIFA, it doesn't matter about Unlimited versus Divisions, right? It just doesn't matter because they have quick match. They have an option where you could just go online and play a game.
There's literally a thing called
consequences
friendlies.
or rewards or any of this stuff. Yeah, literally.
Literally a thing called friendlies.
The fact that 2K have missed it is the most basic online mode for any online game. That you could just load in, press a button, and play someone online. It doesn't all have to be about rewards and MT and VC and all of this. Like, it's everything's so convoluted with 2K. Like, it just feels like everything's just kind of geared towards us being guinea pigs for them just testing out theories in like this mad science lab where they're just trying to figure out what we should be doing.
I don't know how 2K took out the like, if you go 11-1 in the Galaxy Opal tier, you get nothing. I don't know where they thought that was a good idea, but if you go 11-1, your reward is, well done, go again, try again. No MT, no pack, no tokens, literally nothing. Like, I don't know where they got that idea from.
Let's move on because that question was, do we need Series 3 cards? But that was a good job. That was a solid answer. Solid answer. We got a few more to get through.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, this is great. I love this new format, by the way. It just goes crazy. Like it's like what do they call it? Like, you know when you go on YouTube and then it automatically plays the next video and you end up
rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole. That's what it feels like. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, we got a question from Sam. Sam also sent in a question last week. Shout out to him. This is a simple one, I think. Let's see where we get to.
Hey guys, short but simple question. Top 3 players in the game at each position right now, including the dude dropped today.
Okay, yeah, cool. Top 3 players in each position. I'll let you go first, Jacob. You're kind of the 2K DB encyclopedia here. So
okay, so I can only really answer for next gen. I feel like my current gen knowledge just isn't there. I played current gen very, very rarely, and I'm not very good at it anymore. Yep. So for next gen, I'm gonna say number 1, Simmons, 2, Pistol Pete. Number 3 is a lot bigger of a gap between 1 and 2, and I'll go ahead and say Luka. Still, as long as you have one that's properly badged, I'll say if for 3 is Luka, especially in the
Simmons
right
and Luka are my start back up.
Yeah, and obviously Pete really isn't obtainable to that many people, so I'll say that's pretty clear cut for number 1. I think number 2 is the least of the best, or it's like the least deep position. I'd say number 1's probably T-Mac. I'd say number 2 is Red, and number 3 is going to be like any of those other DeRozan. I just don't like KD that much. I feel like for the 2, he doesn't really fit there because his jump shot's kind of slow.
Jaquel, hold on. Jaquel, what's your thoughts on Red being number 2 on his list?
Throw that away, bro.
I mean, you play current,
next gen,
right?
You
play current, right? Like that red card is like literally prototype next gen card.
I haven't used them on next gen too, so I have to think current gen hell.
You've been trashing that card non-stop for 6 weeks, and now you're like, next gen.
Yeah,
he's still trash.
Prototype next gen card, 100%. And then for the 3, I mean, it's got to be Fairy, Kukoc, whichever. I'd say Fairy 1, Kukoc 2, and then a big gap, and then probably say like, well, I haven't used like Thon Maker these guys yet, so it's hard to say. Yeah. But I don't think any of them can touch Thon, or I don't think Thon or any of these other guys can touch Kukoc or Danny Ferry just off a jump shot base. But we'll just go ahead and say Thon Maker. I think that LeBron has a very good argument for that position too. For the 4, I think that Bull is still clear cut number 1. And then for the next 2, it's probably two of those cards they dropped today. I'd probably say LeBron or Thon for that position as well because they can play there too.
Giannis?
But Giannis definitely gets a good shout in there too. Sure. I just think that the biggest thing with Giannis right now is that there's going to be a better one that can come soon or than later. Yeah. And it's probably going to get Sharp badge without having to have Phil Jackson and then also get Curry slide. So he'll be back on that top of the power forward list soon. And then for the center, it's Shaq, Kareem, Wilt, personal preference. Put them in your order. That's my preference right there. I like Kareem the best. Yeah. I'm most comfortable with him. And then Shaq's just Shaq, and that Wilt's just Wilt. Like, what more can you really say about those guys? You know, they're S-tier centers that shouldn't have like a 3-pointer, but like you can get sharp badge on Wilt. Like, yeah.
So, I think I agree with that. I think shooting guard is the toughest spot. I think it's really tough. Like, I don't know. I've got Michael Red on current gen, and I wouldn't put him in top 3.
No, he's not on current gen.
The rest of it, I think I agree with entirely.
Yeah, entirely.
Is there anyone else you'd put in there, guys? Is there anyone
at shooting guard, just for like, because I don't play 5v5, so I mainly play 3v3, so literally positions don't really matter. So I would say Durant, just because of how tall he is, and I do love his jump shot.
Shooting guard?
Yeah,
the shooting guard. Yeah.
Even though, because he's tall, I do really like his jump shot, even though it is a bit slower. But just with the because height is literally the key thing in this game. Like, he really can get. Yeah. He can get all sorts of matchups.
I totally understand that. I mean, I think that out of all the players I listed, I think the one that I'm probably not giving enough credit to is KD, and that's just off of personal preference, because there's a lot of other competitive players and stuff that will say KD's the best shooting guard in the game right now.
100%. Lovely. All right, guys, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so our next question is from Antonio. I don't think he sent in a question last week. So this is a new guy. Let's see what he's got to say.
Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. I myself am a little stressed because this past weekend took me 27 wins, not 27 games, 27 wins to get my last limited ring. And I was just wondering, what do you guys think people can do to avoid this stress? I tried playing at all times of the night, all times of the day, and I kid you not, one person would rage quit and the next person would stay the entire game. I'm definitely glad I got Lewis, but I just don't know if I can do another 30-40 game weekend. Let me know what you guys think.
Imagine playing 27 games for Rashard Lewis.
Yeah. I mean, it could be bad. It can be really, really bad. I've had a couple of weekends where I've really come close to just going. The point he makes is the most valid, I think. When you're winning game after game after game, that's when you just should get the ring. I've missed the ring 4 times, 5 times in a row at times.
Is there overall, if you match up with the same overalls, is that kind of how it is for limited, or is it just completely random in terms of the overall lineup?
It's the same overall, roughly.
Oh, so because if you could do that, my advice to anyone is try and get a group of 5 or 10 of yous and literally search at the same time. That's your best thing for limited. And then just help each other out.
2K don't help themselves, because I'm looking by you get 1,500 XP for playing 10 limited games. Oh, so geez. that's at least 3 hours, but they don't help themselves, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has that one weekend where the ring they keep missing or it won't show up. Everyone has that one weekend, and it definitely sucks. But I think those weekends are few and far between. I've played nearly every weekend of limited, besides the weekends where I've intentionally not played, so I get my Hawk badge instead of these trash players they keep coming out with. But it's been 2 weekends where it's been over 20 games, and most of the time it's 5 or less. So just if you want it, go for it. I mean, at that point though, let's be dead honest, at this stage of the game, the Hawk badge is definitely not worth it. 100%. This is the first month where it's I would say the advice for that would be actually just stick it out and just do it, because Elgin's going to be sweet. But any other weekend, if that was Rashard Lewis weekend, my advice would be just don't just stop playing.
Just have a limit. Yeah. Have a limit to how many games you'll play. And if you go over that, then you just so be it. You don't go for that card.
Because of the time it would take to win 29 games, you could play probably, I'd say, nearly 100 games of TTO. If you can win the majority of those, you're probably going to make 100 to 200 KMT minimum, probably more than that, probably close to 300. And Rashard Lewis is not a 300k card, so
I've never had an issue of having to play over 20 games for a ring. I think the max I've ever had to win or even play is 10. So I don't know if I'm just an anomaly.
Mine's from season 1, 45. I play 45.
Yeah.
I started a podcast once. I literally started the podcast because I'd literally just played like 30 games of limited back to back, and I just started the podcast in a like fuel of rage. I remember that like really clearly. I'm going to answer his question directly. How do you make limited less stressful? I don't have an issue with playing multiple limited games. I play a lot of it for fun. I'm usually playing a bit of it while I'm editing the podcast and when I'm listening to it through, all of that stuff. So I'll happily play 20 games of limited in a weekend. Getting to 25, 30 games to get the ring is not good. But how you make it less stressful? Like, 2K have a habit of having these incredible ideas and executing them poorly, right? They've been doing this for a while. But there is no better example of that than limited. What a S-tier idea that was. Like, absolutely incredible. And I think there's one week where it's actually been interesting, which is when they did the All-Star one. Remember, you could only be players that have been All-Stars. That's the only week that's been interesting in terms of requirements. Run 1 diamond, run a 90 overall, run players from Series 3. Like, what is this? This is supposed to be such a cool thing to do. Like,
there was one that I did like, and that's just because I literally cheese the hell out of it. You could, so it was like have a maximum team overall of I think a maximum of like 84 overall, but you couldn't use bronze, silver, or gold players.
Yeah.
But you could use heat check players.
Yeah.
So literally full heat check bench. That was like a 70 overall. I was running like 3, I think, Galaxy Opals, and I was literally blitzing everyone. Like, when it's like that, I don't mind it because I'm having fun. But if it's like use Sapphire and Ruby cards and it's just you're not making shots or whatever, it's just not fun at that point.
Yeah, there are weeks where it's fun, but I just don't think this was supposed to be the point. Like, wasn't the point supposed to be, you only use players from a certain decade, or you only use players that have been NBA champions, or you only use players in wasn't the idea of this? It was supposed to create like this eclectic kind of group of players in your team. And now it's just like you've got one linchpin and a bunch of randoms. That's 90% of weeks.
Yeah,
90% of weeks is you
it
find
is
your best
now.
card and some
I know,
randoms.
like you said, like there was a few interesting ones early game. There was only used 2nd round draft picks. There was only used people that have been teammates of LeBron James and Jimmy Butler. There was some interesting ones. I think one of the main reasons why they possibly have got away from that is because like they don't, for whatever reason, 2K doesn't want auction house instability. They don't want to see when they have a 2nd round draft pick limited weekend, they don't want to see the Draymond Green go up a whole bunch. For whatever reason, they seem to like to keep the auction house as stable as they can. I'm not sure how that benefits them. Maybe because they know that that's an MT making opportunity for people maybe like Josh. And they don't want people to make MT because they want people to buy VC. That's the only thing I can really think of is why they maybe aren't doing these unique ones they could be doing. But overall, I don't like limited. I think that one of the main reasons why I probably don't like limited is because when I first heard about it, I thought it was going to be closer to something like a weekend league, like Josh was talking about with FIFA, when in reality, it's really just the most casual game mode and completely RNG based for the rewards.
Yeah,
so
I'll be honest, if this limited was like FIFA's weekend league with this gameplay, oh my god, controllers would be thrown.
It would be the most toxic thing.
It would be the most toxic thing in ever. Like speed boosts, it'd be like no tomorrow. Everyone would literally be Taibo. It'd be unreal.
Every game
I think it would be. Well, that's the thing though. No matter what people want to say, there is a skill gap in this game. I don't care what anyone says. There is a skill gap. It just isn't as small as it should be for a competitive thing. And the reason why I say that is because if there wasn't, Ty Debo wouldn't have won 7 out of the 10 MyTeam Madness tournaments. When you watch these MyTeam Madness tournaments, every time until the consoles got split between next gen, there's over 100 people that get into them. They're all serious players. It costs $20 plus to enter. So everyone in there is serious about it. But you always see the same 8 to 10 people at the top of those, the top of those tournaments, because once you get to a high level, there is a bit of a skill gap. And I think if there was like a FIFA league like that, I think it would be incredible for like content, because like what happens when I'm 24-0 in my weekend league and someone maybe you guys would know, I don't know, like just for instance, like Ty, I match up with Ty and he's 28-0 and we're both streaming, and now everybody wants to see who comes out. Like Ty would hypothetically a much better player than me, but like you get what I'm saying though, right? Like two bigger names meet in weekend league, like that could be a whole YouTube video, you know?
Literally,
Exactly.
The way with like FIFA works is literally like you get, so it's the weekend league, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so that's content. You get your rewards on Thursday. So then literally Thursday, everyone knows, oh, right, rewards. So it's literally content all of Thursday for FIFA is just packs. So like, I don't know why 2K just doesn't do something like that. 2K
just steal the damn idea.
Yeah,
steal it.
I mean, the thing is, they tried to. Like, you know, the division system in FIFA, that's literally what the unlimited tier system was supposed to be. And they just didn't execute it as that. Like, in FIFA, there's just a very casual climb in skill base. Like, you feel it. You go from one division to another, you feel that step up. And FIFA was just like 12 and 0 turned into 68 and 0.
Jazz, when's the last time you played FIFA?
20.
Right, because it's not like that now.
It's not like that now. Okay, fair enough.
Seasons are gone. It's been replaced with rivals, and your literal ranking point is called skill rating. So it's just as sweaty as like unlimited. Not as sweaty, but there is a casual mode in FIFA. So there's no casual mode in.
So
divisions to me, divisions was perfect. Like to me, that's what the tier
perfect.
system was trying to be. Like it literally was trying to be that, right? You progress in tiers, you win a certain amount of games, you can go up and down tiers, all of this different thing. Like the difference is it was just completely random. Like the matchmaking was the same, you know, as it was when it was 12 and 0. They just didn't adjust the game. And now they've introduced skill-based matchmaking, which makes even less sense. Like that takes it even further away from being matched up with people.
I mean, the thing is, all of this has to be, there's alternative motives that we don't understand for why it's happening. There's no way that 2K, because like there's no way that like they don't know that this isn't the ideal situation, the way unlimited is structured and limited is structured. There's no way they think that's what most people want. There has to be
they have to look at feedback. Yeah, they have to look at feedback, and there's no way they're getting enough feedback to where they go, oh, this is a good idea. It's going well.
You can go back to the last 2 years where Unlimited was first introduced, where it was just go 12 and 0, it was over. Realistically, what was happening is if the cards were souped, people like Ty, RCA, TJ, even myself would get requests on requests of people, hey, $40, 12 and 0. So then you're playing against a guy who you have no idea who it is, but it's actually Ty behind the sticks, because he's being paid to do that person's 12 and 0. I think that they wanted to get away from that for whatever reason, because that was a huge deal last year. If you watched the top
Jazz has already actually said that before. He said that off podcast about them possibly stopping that whole 12 and 0 run.
They would have stopped this kind of black market entirely, right? That's
and they did it by adding in tiers, and I think that maybe they thought that wasn't enough, so now they just make the cards suck. Like, no offense to your Larry Johnson, but like, let's be honest. Like,
offense was taken.
In this month last year, Glenn Rice was the unlimited card. Glenn Rice at that point in time was the best card in the game. Like,
I don't see the difference. I don't see the difference.
I just want to quickly go off topic too. Off topic. Obviously, we were just talking about my Top Shot moment off camera. It just sold for $1,000 US. I just got the notification. I'll take that $1,000 right there.
Josh, what were you just saying about Jacob?
I'll take 50. Oh yeah, right, yeah. So we were reading I was reading tweets while we were waiting for you, and you see the who needs a season 7 wallpaper. And someone responds with, thanks, MyTeam, this is exactly what I needed. And you ratio the guy so bad, saying, please touch grass.
It's got over 100 likes. It's got 100 likes.
Oh, wow, jeez.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I like MyTeam, but not enough to have it on my iPhone. It's just not happening.
It's the last thing I want to see when I'm not playing the game. Literally.
Unlimited, Imagine having your unlimited record as your wallpaper.
Your win ratio. Yeah.
Maybe not. Do you know when people have like their team's like record in their bio, just have their unlimited bio?
Yeah.
It's this. The ultimate cringe, I reckon.
I mean, if you're able to go 68-0 with skill-based matchmaking right now, I really don't believe you. You probably boosted. If you are able to go 68-0, I know who you are, and then I maybe will believe you. But like, no randoms are going 68-0 nowadays. No. Like, I went 68-1 season 1, and last season, like, my record was like 70%. Like, it's not what it used to be.
I mean, like, we were saying this like last week. Like, Jacob kind of sits on the podcast. He can be a bit quiet sometimes, doesn't really say a lot, but like, he is elite, man. I really believe Jacob is one of the top 10 players in the world right now. And if they can let him into 250k, he will run riot. Like, he really, really will. Like, the ease in which he got, and he streams it, so you can see he's running a main team. You know, he's not glitching, he's not doing any of that stuff. And first attempt, just went and got
But yeah, my whole thing about that is like, obviously, yeah, if I could train, because I'm not even like trying to be comp anymore in terms, I'm trying to become a content creator. So I've got to move away from that anyway, in my eyes. But like, yeah, if I was to focus and stuff like that and actually had the comp like Jacob has in terms of who he plays, but like his servers are so different. You can't really compare mine, because like I look at it like Bigsy, the bro Bigsy, he's been on a tear. He did like 3 people's accounts.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He is a beast of a player, but the competition, it's almost like we the NBL and Jacob's in the NBA. You know what I mean?
Like in the most respectful way possible to Jakel, like there's just no way that I could ever say that somebody on the NZ server even like I really can't see them being better than the top 10 players over here, just mostly out of the fact that they don't have the opportunity to play that level of competition. We don't play if I never played the people that I played, I would have never progressed the way that I did to get to where I am or was more. But like, you know what I mean? Because like once you get to this point in 2K, you have to play people at this point to get to their point. You can't just beat up on people down here and then keep moving your way up. You have to play those people, because the game's so different in a competitive setting versus like an unlimited
It's just easy to explain. You got to look at like Splash and Ty Debo played each other multiple times before 250k. You know what I mean? So if I ever made 250k from where I am, I would then be playing Splash or Ty for the first time. It would be a smack in the mouth, because they're constantly playing dudes who beat them.
Yeah, you know, and I could tell you this from watching like Montelli play on like Australia servers for years. There's nobody that plays lanes on those servers even remotely close to the way Ty does. Like that defensive scheme is unseen in even EU. Like Sam the Ruler, for instance, he's part of the FIBA Great Britain team. He's the center for them, and like he hadn't really watched like Ty play, and we were like watching together, and he was like, I have never seen anybody play lanes like this. Pro-Am, MyTeam, I've never seen this kind of scheme before. It's just completely unseen, and it was unseen in all of MyTeam until Ty came around. Like, you know, like I know like DBG will say like, oh, YBC was like the inventor of bait defense. It wasn't the way Ty does that stuff. It's the swings that he makes, the rotations he makes are unreal.
I agree with you, but I do think I do really believe that Jacob was at that level, and I think the kind of progression he had, because he started at the same place as Ty. They both played in the global championships. Ty won it, and like Ty is the best player in the world. There's no comparison there. But I do believe that if Jakel had the opportunity to scrim with these guys, like he would be a real threat to that.
That would change my game 100%, and I've always said that, and that's how I look at skill-based matchmaking. Especially now, I'm just like, don't have it in the game if I can't even go and compete in that tournament, because like, why am I sweating? That's my whole thing with that. And just you just can't. I can't really practice, but like I promise you, I probably know about 5 people in my servers who could roll with anyone on this damn game. That's just how I look at it. But the ties and stuff, like they're special, bro. Like Splash, Ace is different. You know what I mean? I ain't never guarded anyone like Splash, and I would never go against a defense like Ty Debo in my server.
Jakel, are you on like the same server that like Killzamoy's on?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like I've seen quite a bit of that and stuff, and like it's just
there's the odd sweats, bro. Like that could if again they get to play like you guys, like if we played you every day and stuff like that, we would obviously get better, and then we would be at that level. But it is a competition thing.
I think there's other challenges as well. That like your server is like the EU server. It's not a great server. Like I said, I really struggle. I played this game a lot over the last year and a half, and I really struggle on that server. When I say the 2 games back to back don't feel the same, and then I'm watching you on a similar server, you could argue it's worse, right? You could.
I'd like to know. I'd like to know what the game feels like on your guys' server. I would love to feel that, because my one's like, I feel like it's, you know, because my server is in another country. It's not even in my own country.
Yeah. And the fact that you still green like 80-90% of your shots is like scary, man. That's legit
there's
scary.
There's so many things you could say, because like globals, I played the Korean champion. He's like a Korean god in this country and play now. And like, I'm not gonna lie, as soon as I played them, everything was just so different. Like just everything they were doing, the bump steals. That's when I was first like, okay, there's another level to this, but like I don't really get to experience it because no one did that here before. My team got big. No one did settings or anything like that in my servers, man. Like everything was default. It was just like basic, you know. And if you were the man, you were the man. But I mean, game's evolved in that way.
Yeah, even here though, the servers, it's not like they're good here by any stretch of the imagination. For instance, I'm in Michigan. The East server is located in Virginia. I'm 800 miles away or something like that, or maybe like 600 miles away from the server I play on. So like it's pretty brutal. And like, for instance, like Ty's in Iowa, which is even further from Virginia. So like it's not good. I mean, it's 2K. Everyone knows the servers kind of suck for everyone, but it's even worse for the guys in EU. I know that. Like, or
where is your server, Jacob?
Australia. So it'll be somewhere in Australia. I think it's
I mean, when there's a sea between you and your server, that's just tough.
The whole ocean,
right. We did a great job of answering the question of how to reduce stress in limited. This is amazing. Right. There's a follow-up question to that. Let's see if we can bring it back around. All right. This question's from Rick, and he's got a solution to limited. Let's see what you guys think.
What's good, lads? Rick here. I've got this idea for limited I want your thoughts on. Maybe they can think about for the future. You could take out the RNG part, just make it 7 games at a time. If you win 4, you get a ring just like real life in the NBA. And then each amount of wins gets you like MT tokens, packs, etc. And then 7 wins gets you a pink diamond card or a galaxy opal, similar to something like the Paul Millsap for unlimited wins a few weekends ago. And then this makes it not too sweaty to get your ring, but then you're in control of it too. So it's not like you're going to play 20 games and not know if you're going to get your ring. And then there's something there for the sweats to go for if they like say at the end of the season when Unlimited's dead. This makes something to look forward to for them as well. So we'll get more people playing the mode. I believe it will make more people build a full squad for whatever requirements are for that weekend too. So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Do you want to respond to that, Jacob? Because you had some strong body language while he was saying that.
Yeah, no, I think like what he said is like 110% like a great thing. If they rolled that out, I think everybody in the community would be like, wow, what a huge improvement to Unlimited last year. I think like everybody would think that's awesome. But like I said earlier, there has to be like some sort of alternative motive because there's all of these great ideas just like he had, and 2K instead wants to just get away from the competitiveness of the game nearly entirely by making everything important in the game like based around RNG rather than skill. So as great as that is, like I would have loved that if they announced that, man. I would be running around my room excited for 2K22.
let me be clear on that. Like his suggestion is if you win 4 out of 7 games, you get the ring. Yeah. I've never played 7 games and not won 4 unlimited. My win record on limited is probably 95%. Like you take the skill-based matchmaking out, and I'm generally quite a good player. Like it's kind of weird.
You're Ty Debo. Debo.
The weekend I'm Ty Debo, and like during the week I'm just Jazz. Like, but what he says is like, you know, then if you get 7 out of 7 wins, you get something even better. It gives the unlimited guys something to do with once they've got Larry Johnson, which everyone's going to go and do because best card in the game. Like there's a lot going on there in what he said. There's a lot going on there in what he said, but really, like he really provided a solution, and I like the fact that he tied it into kind of the playoffs, right? Like 7-game series.
It's an incredible idea.
Yeah, brilliant. That
makes so much sense. Yeah, so much sense. Like, and that's how when this game first came out, and I seen the whole thing about the ring and stuff like that, I thought, oh, here we go. This is like something to do with, you know, like winning the NBA championship. You win a ring. Like something really cool they could have integrated, and turns out it was one of the worst ideas ever. But
no, it was a good idea. It was a really good idea.
It was such a good idea.
The execution. Probably just a simple thing to make limited better. If you get all 4 rings, give us all 4 the prizes. Like it's not that like massive that you get a player and a Hall of Fame badge.
Even now, we're gonna get 8 Hall of Fame badges this week to start off the season. Like it's too late to even think about that because like that would have been awesome like 2 or 3 seasons ago, but now those first like 3 or 4 or 5 prizes or whatever are like not worth the time even in the slightest. It's just a bad system. That's all I can say. It's a bad system.
They put Elgin in now, which, you know, people are excited about. If they hadn't, I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm so annoyed with the requirements this week. I think this might be the first weekend where I just don't play limited. Like I'm I have no interest. There's nothing fun about it this weekend. Like,
well, you do get one card of any of your choice. So just literally go out there, dude. Use your Ben Simmons and then just put random players out there. Run directly at the hoop with Ben Simmons for 2 minutes until you make someone quit and call it a day.
Yes, you're right. You're right. And like, if I did it for a couple of hours there, I'll get the ring. I'm just so frustrated with the mode. Like, the fun for Limited for me is really building the team and experimenting with it. Oh, that didn't work. Let's put in a couple of different players and just. There's only 10 players I can run. I've got a few diamond current cards. Like, the squad builds it. Literally, what you said is what makes it boring for me. I know what my team is before even loading into 2K.
Yeah, his idea, like that whole idea, is like cool. Everything he just said, that would be 10 times better than what they have.
Yeah, and it's not like the thing is like the way he said it was precisely and like very, very cool. But it's not like 2K hasn't had some sort of idea somewhat similar presented to them from somebody. Instead, they said, "Nah, let's just make it all RNG." Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like they just never thought about doing something different. Like, it had to have been discussed at some point, but nah, they just don't want to, unfortunately.
Yeah, Jacob, we've mentioned a few times your take on RNG that you had on the podcast, like the kind of sponsorship and all of that stuff. Like, you kind of opened my eyes to that. Like, maybe we'll run through that in a bit. Let's get through some more questions. Great question, Rick. That was a huge W. Really, really good suggestion. Familiar face for us now. Hasey plays. Shout out to Hasey. Let's see what he's got to say. He's always got good questions. Always got good questions.
Wondering what you guys thought on what could make the 2K community a much better place, or what would make the 2K community a much better place. Do you think if 2K removed things like algo, skill-based matchmaking, all those things that we're really kind of jumping up and down about, saying we don't want in the game? Or do you think if 2K come out and said, this is why we have this, and this in the game, this is why it hasn't been taken out, we do not intend to take it out, so on and so forth, and then they turn around, take some ownership for error codes, server failures, break down to us what they know about why it's happening, what they're trying to do to get it fixed. Basically give us a bit of transparency. Do you think that would overall create a better community for us? Love to know your thoughts, guys.
All right, shout out to Hasey. I'm going to flip his question on its head. We're going to answer the second bit first, and then we'll go back. So his second bit was 2K taking ownership over the problems in the game. Just to put this in perspective, Jaquel literally just loaded into Unlimited for the first time this season. It was 3 hours after the new season had launched, and the server issue should have been done. He got error coded on his first Unlimited game. There are issues in the game. Skill-based matchmaking they still haven't admitted to, which is weird. It is a weird thing not to admit to that. Like, it's really strange. Do you think that the community would just feel much better if 2K explained, if there was more transparency?
100%. 100%. 100%. If we got given like a why, and even if it's a bad why, we still get a why. You know what I mean? We still get told this is kind of our thoughts on why we want to add these like little things. But how can they just do that and then not tell us at all? Like, but they have been known to do that with patch notes. Like, they leave stuff out of patch notes. So
yeah.
Like, well, I'll tell you why. I can tell you why it happens this way. Because for the longest time, I thought, yeah, transparency is the number one rule of any sort of business practice. Well, here's the problem. 2K, they suck so bad at so many things when it comes to like air codes, like algo, things like this. It's so bad that if they were transparent about it, if they had a Twitter page dedicated to addressing these problems, there would be something to tweet every single day about the issues with it. And the major shareholders of this game would see that. They would see, oh my goodness, what is going on? Why do they have to address this stuff every single day? Why in the world do they have to tweet out every time a new season starts that our servers are down? And then they would pull out of investing in the game because they would see how truthfully bad it is. So they want all of their public image to be, oh my goodness, look at the new season. Here's a cool picture of Damian Lillard to put on your wallpaper. We're Take-Two and we love 2K and you guys love us. But it's so bad. It's so bad that if they were to come out and explain every fault in their game, the people that are heavily invested in the company would pull out. That's how bad it is.
So I agree with you. I do agree with you. Like, I love the idea of like at 2K apologies as like just a Twitter.
What you mean at 2K support?
Yeah, I think that doesn't exist. I think that's real. The problem is like it's there anyway. It's all over Twitter anyway. Like if they post something new, you literally just ratioed them, Jacob, about wallpaper. Like it's there. Like you're not avoiding that feedback. And what is worse, like I understand, you're right. You're absolutely right when it comes to like server issues, things like that. They can't just tweet out every Friday, hey, servers are down again. But they can do things like skill-based matchmaking, things like that. They can take ownership over it. There's no reason why they shouldn't. Because that conversation is going on anyway. And there would be less hostility because like you see it. There's literally like a Twitter comment, someone goes skill-based matchmaking sucks, and then someone else comes in who is like a Ty Debo level player going, what are you talking about? I haven't lost a game this season. And then this is like this constant like back and forth, like under the 2K tweets.
I will say, under the thing of like where they can't just tweet out like, oh, servers are down again. MLB The Show is currently doing it.
They are
say like
really well.
Yeah.
They say, oh, so but the thing that MLB The Show did earlier, they literally give away packs to people. If you sign in like before the 17th, I don't know when this podcast is going out. I don't know what date it is. If you sign in before this,
not going out in 10 days, mate.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
We're a little bit sharper than that.
If you got MLB sign in, they give you like I think 45k stubs worth of packs or something. Like as a say sorry, like because of the servers.
Yeah.
2K has done stuff similar though. For what did they did something similar? I mean, when they pulled the Pink Diamond LeBron in 2K19 from everyone, they did like a sorry, here's a different free Pink Diamond. But the problem is MLB doesn't have half of the issues that 2K does. That's why it's getting all the praise. So they only have to do that once. If 2K gave away packs every time they screwed up, we'd be getting packs every day. Like, we'd be getting free stuff.
There's a couple of times they've done it this year as well. They did the limited thing, right, where they made the ring easier.
Yeah, everyone gave a free ring.
Unlimited 11-0, right? People were kind of put on 11-0. If you lost that game, how tough is that? I need to speak to someone who got put on 11-0 lost that game.
They put me on the amethyst board. I was just like, oh well, I don't really want that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well.
You're right though with MLB. Like I watched, Clazy was on the podcast, right, Eric? I was watching his stream the other week, and he was talking about MLB, and he spoke about the servers, and it was just so calm. Like his whole tone and the way he was talking about it, he was like, "Oh, we're having server issues, but it's a new game, and MLB are communicating it, and that was just a really good reflection of someone who's dealing with something that's transparent, right? Like the second thing is like you mentioned,
not only is it a new game. It's because it's gone to a new console, and on that other console, it's literally free to play, basically. Yeah. So that's where like an influx of like loads of new players are coming in. Like, so sure. You'd expect server issues with 2K. You expect like, oh, this many people will be on the game at this time, and you still get the same issues every single Friday. Weirdly, it wasn't that bad this week. Like it was like I think for me like 45 minutes, which is still mad.
Literally,
I usually I'm down for like 2 hours. Like
I haven't left the house for a week, and the time as a content creator in this space, the time I chose to go shopping today to get some new hoodies was 5 minutes before the content dropped because there was no point being at home because I was literally going to stress myself out for 2 hours.
It's that bad.
The other point is like Jacob, you kind of mentioned what you know about business. Business is my world. That's what I do, right? Like I have 3 successful businesses now. Like that's all happened over the last 6 months. But my business is built off of the back of like customer service, right? Our clients are some of the biggest charities in the world. Our clients are $2.83 billion charities. And when you make the comparison, they're your customers, right? It's exactly the same comparison. And the thought of having that level of apathy towards anyone that comes through any of my businesses, anyone we engage with, is something I will never be able to understand. There's never going to be a justification for it because we joke about 2K support not being real. Like I dealt with it before. We all have.
Open
it's
a
shocking.
ticket.
Dude, literally, someone asked me like, because some people was having issues with like their token reward thing, and I was like, it was glitched. I was just like, right, I know it's a terrible idea, but try and contact 2K support. Like it's just
what is the point? What is the point? Anyway, right, cool. Okay, guys. So the second half of that question, well, the first half of that question was, what can we do to make 2K a better place? I'll give my thoughts on that really quickly. I'll hand it over to you guys. I think it's always going to be toxic. I think there's always going to be an underlying toxicity, like Jacob was saying. There's people planting idiots out there. They're growing on trees, and I think there's always going to be an element of that, like in the community. I think the only thing that would make it better is if people felt like they had a voice. And I think there's one saying that we say way too often as a community that I think we just need to stop saying. I really, really believe this, is that 2K can't please everybody. I've said this before. Every time we say that, I feel like 2K here, we don't need to please anybody. I think there is a general consensus out there. I think there's almost everything we've suggested. I'm not saying would be unanimously liked on this podcast, but would definitely be an improvement. You know, taking skill-based matchmaking out the game or explaining it would be something that would reduce the source of stress for the community. Making limited interesting and making it the game mode that it should have been would make it more interesting. Making things less RNG based, and there's frustration built into the game. It's their model. Their model is frustration right now. And yeah, like I said, I think this whole idea of they can't please everybody, we need to stop saying that as a community.
I hate that. I absolutely hate that when someone says, you know, like, stop complaining. Boy, I'm gonna complain if something's bad. You know what I mean? Are you gonna eat a crappy meal because? No, you're not gonna just be like, oh no, I'll just sit here and eat my food. It's terrible. You're gonna say something.
Literally, people say to me, it's just like, oh, like I because I'm a thing of like, if 2K do something bad, obviously I'll complain. But if they do something good, as rare as that is, I do say, yeah, it's good. And every time I complain about something, people always go, oh, why do you keep complaining? I'm just like, because it's worthy of complaining. But if they do something good, I literally scream it from the high tops, like, well done. Because, you know, it does go both ways.
That whole stop complaining thing, I hear it sometimes, you know, and I always just say, I call a ball and a strike. And I'd rather have real negativity than fake positivity. Like, if I'm just gonna sit here and say everything's good and peachy, like, if you actually think that, then like you're just a better man than me. Like, there's a few people out there that really can just enjoy this 100%. Everything is great in their world. Well, I'll tell you what, I would love to be you for a day because I can't. Like, it's just I'll call it the way I see it, and I'll leave it at that. It's not always gonna be pretty, but when there's credit to be due, I do give the credit. Like,
is it possible to be a better man than you, Jacob?
100%. 100%.
The thing of like obviously having a voice and stuff. Like, I see people like Carlos, HDB, and JD. Literally, when the content drops, they complain about the servers, and if they don't respond to them, I'm kind of like, does anyone else have a voice? It's
JD's really taken the filter off as well. Like, I know he's always been honest. He's always been honest, especially on stream. I saw one of his tweets earlier. I can't remember what it was, but he just called them out openly. He was like, "That this is good enough. It's not good enough." It was about the servers. It was about the servers.
And here's the thing: like, I get there too. How if they're not listening to those big content creators, then obviously. But if everyone complains, they will listen. It needs to be everyone though. If there's like a good portion who are like, "Oh, that's all good," they're gonna probably like not fix something. You know what I mean?
I remember when they added in that exchange card, but the only way to get the cards was to open VC packs. The amount of people that told me those cards were already on Triple Threat Online, I was like, show me proof. And none of them could show me proof. Like, I guarantee the community made that change. Like,
we had Jay Canada on. We had Jay Canada on a couple of weeks ago. And he spoke about this. He literally spoke about it. So there's a Discord group with all the kind of 2K partner creators in there. And they brought up this issue. And he said it was literally that Discord group that solved that issue. He wouldn't say who it was, but he said it was someone. But you're right. Even if they brought it up, it was a community that led to that person saying what they said, and then there's a knock-on effect and so on. But to feel like we're powerless, it's a weird. I'm just not built that way. I'm just not wired that way to accept like mediocrity. Like, it's not where I've got to in my life. Has not been with that attitude.
I think as content creators, obviously, I'm not like the biggest 2K person. I do have a following, but I'm not like the biggest 2K person. But like, I know if I say something, some people will see it. Whether someone from like 2K sees it or not is a different thing. But I imagine it's the same for like Jacob or something. He says something, DBG retweets it, etc., etc. Like, he just gets around. I know that type.
I mean, now that Sam works there, it's like he's. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say he's my best friend that's ever walked this face of the earth, but he reads my Twitter to say the least. Like, you know.
He is a voice. He's a voice for us for sure. It's just about getting through whoever these key decision makers are.
And exactly. That's the thing too. Like, a lot of people if you're complaining about 6-man Sam, like, how oblivious you have to be to think about how corporate jobs work, that they would have just hired a content creator that's 23 years old and say, yo, you start this year, and by the way, you make every decision that happens with this game mode in this multi-million-dollar game. No, like, he's probably still got the training wheels on him, man. Like
do people hate on it? Do people legitimately like hate on him?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
They do?
Wow. There was
It's
like
not-
a pretty big one. Like it's not like Ronnie
It's not,
level of
yeah, it's not Ronnie
toxicity.
level.
Yeah, it's
but-
not Ronnie level, but people will like at him and be like, please fix this in all caps. Or like, what do you do? Because like some people have the understanding he's not a community manager either.
Yeah.
He's not, you know,
He's a
and he's not
producer.
gonna- yeah. And once
Community
again,
managers.
like I said, I guarantee you when he got hired in, they said, yo, Sam, please don't just sit there and acknowledge all the BS on Twitter about people complaining. You don't have time to do that. And it's also a bad look for us. Okay, sounds good. I want to keep my job. So I'm not going to sit here and reply to a bunch of shit. Like,
Yeah. I mean, look, you know, I've been in meetings that he will have sat in, right? I've been in similar sort of tiered meetings and you know, I've despite being successful, I've been the small fish in a lot of those meetings. You know, I had to get investors on board for my initial business. You know, one of the guys who backs my first business is one of the top 50 richest people in the UK. And I had to sit down in front of him and try and get him on side. It's not that easy. It's not. But the key decision makers need to start listening. And I really believe, I think the main point I want to make here is 2K need to stop building in modes that are designed to frustrate us. That's the beginning and middle and end of all.
You mean all of last season?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, what a disaster. All right. Let's move on. Next question's from Jordan. This is a really simple one. We should get through this quickly. Let's see what happens. It's a great question.
Hey guys, just wanted to say massive fan of the podcast and all the content that you guys push out through your own channels. New to my team this year. I think it's end of season 4 is my first sort of run with the mode, and I've been enjoying it so far, and your guys' content's been helping me get through it. But yeah, question for the day is, what do you feel like they should do about the blinders situation, steady shooter situation? Feel like there could be a better compromise to sort of help people on both platforms, and just be interested to see your take on it. Cheers, guys.
Oh yeah, well, first off, that dude right there is a professional rugby league player. So if anyone probably doesn't even know that watches this podcast, it's kind of like rugby, but another kind of rugby. And yeah, he's a pretty big deal in my country, pretty much, New Zealand and Australia.
It's the one you get It's the one you get tackled and then you put the ball.
Yeah, you got six tackles. Yeah. So it's like that. So yeah, like blinders.
See, us Welsh people know it.
Well, there you go. You know rugby league, eh? You must know rugby league over in your country.
Sure. It's not massive, like
not massive, yeah.
No, but it's there.
But for blinders, like we'll have to go with Jacob on that because he's the one on next gen. He knows more about blinders than I would.
The simple fix is to just give everybody a locker code for whatever you want to make it. Preferably, I'd say 10 Hoff blinders badges would be fair. And yes, that'll screw up the market because people on current gen will want to buy them. Who cares? You need blinders. People that say it's overrated just don't understand it. Ask anybody who's playing the game in the 2K League. Every person in the 2K League is going to have blinders on Hall of Fame on their build if they have the ability to have it on there, because it is as important as what range and clamps or whatever the most important badges are. But secondly, for current gen people, I think that the data shows from 2K Labs it's a 5% chance of missing a white. So just green your shots if you're on current gen, then you don't have to worry about steady shooter.
Oh, no problem. I'll do that.
Yeah, just green. Like, just green.
If they give us Larry Johnson's release on everyone, then we'll be
Larry ain't missing the shot. Larry's not missing the shot. You can put any badges on him.
I don't know how 2K can have on one version the worst badge in the game versus on next the best, most important.
That is such a 2K thing, though. That's
like,
how
I don't know
how
you do that.
They didn't mean to make blinders as impactful as they thought it did, but a lot of it too isn't in-game mechanic, because even if you don't have blinders on next gen, you can still get a pretty good shot off of somebody trying to contest for the side. But like with Hoff blinders, it's like literally a wide open. So
yeah. It was a weird one. That was a weird one for me. Like, that's definitely the most unique kind of shift between the two gens, I think, is that badge. It's a very weird decision. But yeah. Let's move on. I'm just gonna put it out there. This next question is weird, and the guy who asked it is weird. I nearly left it off. But let's just get it out of the way.
Hey, what's up, guys? Killa Josh here. You know what I'm saying? Huge fan of the podcast. That AllThatJaz guy is cool. That Notorious God guy is cool. But my personal favorite is Killa Josh. Like, oh my god, he's so amazing. But besides the point, my question is for AllThatJaz, and my question is, being that Dark Matter Larry Johnson is now the 12-0 reward, which I don't know how the hell that happened, are you gonna go for him, and are we gonna get some unlimited streams?
Literally just spat my drink. That's so.
First of all, he looking fly as hell with their cut. Whoever got your haircut right there?
He's on holiday, man.
That's a fresh cut.
Josh is on the prowl. He's such a weirdo. He's such a weirdo.
Literally, it was the face and then just look at the state of him, and I just drink every week.
He's so smug.
He even did a little sly. Did you see his little sly zoom in on himself real quick?
Yeah, he was working the camera.
That was good.
In answer to your question, Josh, whoever you are, no. You will never, ever see me stream. Unless I lose a bet, I'm never streaming unlimited. My first ever stream, I've said this a few times, I was supposed to grind up like 5,000 XP. I was so distracted by the chat, I did 200 XP in 2 hours. 200 XP. My ability, I'm not Jacob, I'm not like, the Oracle. I can't do 2 things at once. It's just not in my ability. And the last thing I'm ever going to try and do while reading chat is play unlimited, because I can't do it when I'm not. So, no. But Jacob will get Larry Johnson for me, so take your Starkey comments and go home. Right. So, the next one is from a 250k qualifier. Shout out to Zeb Warrior.
What's good, y'all? It's Zeb here. My question is going to be, if you could add one game mode to my team, what would it be?
What's a rhetorical question?
Like, what is it? What's the answer?
Friendlies.
Yeah, for sure. That is the answer. Yeah. Quick match.
It's kind of all I can. Yeah, it's kind of all I can think of, because to me, all they would do with Unlimited is like just make it better, like more in-depth kind of game mode. And then if I was to add a game mode, it's just simple. Yeah, quick match.
Actually, I'll throw another one in there. Private triple threat online. Because I don't know how that is.
That's definitely a good one.
Great shot.
Personally, for me, I think that it wouldn't really be a game mode per se, but I think leaderboards would be the dopest thing. Leaderboards for unlimited. So, like, obviously, right now the top thing you can do is like go 68-0, but nobody cares. I mean, you get a trash card, and you might be able to post a Twitter pic. Hey, I went 68-0. I mean,
what did you just say?
Okay.
Okay. What jersey number is Larry Johnson? Because that's how many likes that post will get.
You get a trash. The disrespect.
Okay. Well, you get what I was saying. Even besides the point of the unlimited card itself, I think just leaderboards would be cool, because like it would give people in the community, especially at the higher level, something to go for. It'd be dope to, see a leaderboard that was actually just completely based off win percentage, and then obviously trumped by number of wins. So if you're 100-0, you load into unlimited and you have the top 100 that you can scroll through with your right stick. And
my
you can
biggest
see,
problem.
I'm number 1.
My biggest problem with what they've done with the 68-0 in there is that they've made us had to keep track of our record over the seasons. Why is that not thing that they just have on your account after each season? Why is that not on your account? Why do I have to keep track of that?
I can't lie to you, man. I'm happy a few of those season records are gone.
But I feel like it's such a simple thing.
It would have been so cool. The first weekend of the game, I went 68-1 in the matter of like 2 or 3 days, and it would have been so dope to see my name up there. And then I would have kept going too. When I saw my name, if I was in 12th at 68-1, I would have been like, okay, well, I'm going to keep playing because I want to try and get up to top 5. That'd be so cool from the competitive standpoint. And like we were saying, how they don't want like a black market of 12-0 rewards. That would give the people that do those 12-0 rewards for other people a reason to stay on their account rather than go do those, because they'd be chasing to be that number 1.
I think the tough thing with that is there's so many exploits that I don't know how true that top 100 would be. Right, you've got people matching, like someone got the got Larry Johnson in 2 hours today just by matching up with bronzes, right, with his friends, things like that. I think there's too many kind of exploits for that to ever be.
What could fix that too is like divisions and stuff like that. Like having divisions and stuff like that would help with a leaderboard. Like divisions, get to elite, and then and then it kind of like carries it on, because then you'd get exposed if you lose too many games in a division.
Or here's another good one too. Just make it so that you can't play the same person more than 3 times. If you play the same person more than, or maybe even more, just so like, because that could happen by chance, especially if you're on a smaller server. If you play the same person more than 10 times, your name just falls off the leaderboard.
Yeah, I like that.
If it happened by accident, tough luck. Like, I mean, you know, like it'd be like,
Still,
you know,
yeah, I've never
there's a
played the same
lot
guy.
of tough luck situations in 2K. So like,
yeah, it's so messy. The thing is, even with that, like on Jakel's server, there's so few players, like they can't qualify for 250k because there's not enough people to play in the qualifiers. Like even if you did that, if he played the same person 3 times and never played them again, he'd probably last about a month.
But then we could also have, they could also fix like servers in terms of like, we have APAC and that's our leaderboard, and then America has theirs, Europe has their leaderboard. They could easily fix like little things. Like
European, the 4 different servers all get their own leaderboard or something. You know, I mean, there's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. It just won't happen because
just putting it out there are like the 2 like simple suggestions were quick match and like private TTO, right? Like you play your friend, play with friends. How easy are those 2 game modes to implement? Like honestly,
I imagine it's a new tab basically.
I mean,
literally just a new tab.
I mean, quick match, and even if you did it in a mode like where it had rewards or whatever, if you won the game, you could literally copy and paste limited and just take the.
They literally have it play with friends. You literally just set it to where you set the difficulty. Just change add another thing saying game mode, like 5v5 or 3v3. Like
2K, please add it. Please add it. Just do it now, please. Just add it. Like we'll have so much fun with it. Just add quick match today. Like do it. If you watch this, if you ever take anything away from this podcast, please put in quick match in the game. Please. All right, let's move on. We got 2 questions left. This question's from Nathan, making a return from last week.
Hey guys, thanks for last week and for having me on your podcast. My question for this week, if it gets mentioned, is how did you guys come together? Like you're from all parts of the globe. So how did you come together with MyTeam and whatnot? And also, what are your hopes for the next season? Because I feel like maybe they've sabotaged the season on purpose. Maybe they're holding out, so they got extra, so they can have a big bang this season. So yeah, just let me know. Thanks, bye.
Okay, so there's a couple of things there. Let's do the second part first again. This was obviously sent in before this season launched. Do you think they sabotaged the end of last season to get us more excited about this season?
As a business, I just don't see why. Especially when MLB came out on the same day as an Idols set. I just don't see why they would logically do that. Because they try to get people back into the game. They did it with the Wilt Chamberlain event thing. But then they ruined that by making the odds terrible. So I don't know whether they're just that out of touch that they think their game is just perfect.
So I think there is a logic. There is a logic to it. This is the only logic I can make sense of. I think content was getting quite OP quite quickly. There was a big leap, right? There was a huge leap, especially when we got to the Danny Ferries and things like that. They took a huge jump forward. And I think it might have been a case of them just kind of trying to reset. There was one moment really that stood out for me, which is when they released that set at the end of last season with the KPJ and all of that. People got really excited. Twitter was just this was the best thing ever, and it really, really wasn't. It was a mid drop, but people got so happy that there just was content. It kind of, made it seem way bigger than it was. I think maybe they did. I think they were struggling with the constant kind of, high level packs and just the constant content that they were dropping again and again. I think they were burning out, and I think there was a 2-week reset where they went if we just try and keep them excited every day, it's not going to be possible. So let's just let it burn for a bit, and then when we bring back the good content, they will get excited again.
The thing with that though is they release everything on Friday.
Yeah.
They had reward players also release on Friday. So they theoretically could release one on Thursday when it's a dead day. They could release also the mystery packs thing. I still don't know what the point of them was.
Yeah.
Does anyone know what the point of mystery packs are?
No. Never opened one. Yeah. What do you guys think? You think there was some sabotage there from 2K, or maybe a better word is a strategy? Is that the right word?
No, they're probably just having a sleep or something. You know what I mean? Just having a little rest.
Yeah, I just think that they put their resources in the wrong places last season with the glitch market and things like that. I think that possibly that took more work than we imagined, and then nobody really cared for it anyhow. And at the end of the day, I just, like I mentioned earlier, I think that they probably had top-down I think that there's people that were in touch, but the people that were calling the shots maybe weren't. I don't know. There's really no explanation for it. And all I can ask for this season is obviously less downtime. Don't drop everything on Friday. More of those drops like we had on Monday. I think the shorter season will help with that. 100%. I think that just anything, any sort of events, content, et cetera, on those Wednesdays, Thursdays, Mondays, Sundays, Saturdays, where there's nothing new coming out, I think will keep people engaged.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, you're right.
Actually, going back to, obviously, I don't like referring to FIFA, but it is literally the superior mode. On Wednesday, they have a thing called Team of the Week. There's essentially moments cards. There's literally like, they release like 23 different new players. They don't have to do 23, but do like 10. Of the last 7 days, whoever performed well, just give them like, I don't know, little boost of a card.
They did that be so much better. It was called Moments of the Week. Yeah, it was. It was 8 to 12 of people who had big games throughout the last week. It was. Because like it wasn't OP, but it was just something.
Here's how I look at that. Yeah, how I look at that is I would rather 5 Colin Sextons than 2 just bowls or random players who aren't doing anything in the NBA.
Yeah,
there was literally how I look at it. There was no excuse for a 3-week dip in moments cards. Like, there's no one could explain that to me. Absolutely no one.
Yeah, cool. Guys, there was another part of that question, which is how did we all come together? I mean, I'll try and answer most of this, fill in the gaps for me if you can. Josh sent me a message. So this all started. I've actually got the message. I'm going to chuck it on Twitter in the next couple of days. Josh messaged me in like November, December last year. He found one of my videos on Algo. I think someone sent it to him. I had like 80 subs at this point, by the way. Like literally was just YouTubing for fun. And then he sent me a message saying, I found your videos really cool. Like he was just sent me a really nice message saying, I loved your video and really supportive and stuff. We just started chatting. Like, and I think the first message I sent him was, I'm thinking of doing a podcast. It's never been done before. Like, what do you think? So that was like the first interaction we had. Jakel, I met you through my Facebook group, right? Like I saw you were in there. Jakel flexing as he always does. His profile picture was him with a 2K t-shirt on at the Global Championships. I was like, might be able to learn something from this guy. So I reached out to him to try and make me better. And then we got to know each other. Jacob, I think we started interacting first of all through your streams, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think every time I said something, you mentioned the podcast. You were always really cool. You shouted us out. You did drop a couple of hints that you wanted to be on it, and I was like, yeah, that works for me. I think that's how we met. And Josh, how did we meet? We sent a few Twitter messages.
Yeah, from what I remember, I know JD was on the podcast, so I was like, oh, that sounds quite cool. I was like, because I always want to like collab with people, because I'm always like down to do it, because it's just fun, and the game is dead half the time, so I just feel like it could help. That's why I've done like random things of like, yo, Ty, send me a 15-20 second clip of suggesting a player, and that turns into a video. And so like JD was on it, I was like, I listened to it, I was like, it's not a bad, it's actually a good podcast. And I think I followed you, and then Kesh, your graphic designer, recommended me you.
That's right. Yeah, that is right. Yeah. I mean, the first time we spoke was when we played Among Us, right?
Yes.
Which was the hardest sell ever for me at the end.
And you sold me so bad at the end.
I did.
That we won't talk about that.
I had no idea what I was doing. Okay, yeah.
We won't talk about that.
I think that covers everything. Yeah, we all get like, we built a really good bond. The OurTeam community is just dope, man. It's a really cool place. Like everyone who's involved in it, like this is such a positive thing just in my life to do. Like I said, it takes like 12 hours of my weekend, but it's just a fun thing to do. Like, hanging up with you guys, chatting to you guys, Josh as well, putting it all together, getting the questions through now, the format and all of this. Like, yeah, it's worth it. It's really fun. And I've met some amazing people like through this podcast. It's been really cool. Let's move on to the next question, which is actually from Ashaz from last week.
Hey guys. So for my questions for the podcast, my one question is that what cards do you guys think they're going to include into the Spotlight Sims that 2K said they were going to add? Also, what cards do you guys think they're going to put into the token market? Thanks for having me on last week, and those are my questions. Thanks.
Shout out to Ashaz, back-to-back weeks with some good questions. Spotlights, what's the card going to be?
I don't know.
I don't know what they will be, but I hope that they're similar to last year's first Spotlights, where we saw the Diamond Cam Reddish, the Diamond Roko, those guys. I want to see a bunch of young players, like I mentioned earlier. For instance, Sadiq Bey from my Pistons, he's going to make the first all-rookie team. Jay Tate, some of these guys that might not be good enough to ever get put in a promo or known enough to get put in a promo. Christian Wood, people like that. I want to see like some younger players on teams like Jackson, Hayes, just anybody that's like younger on a team that wouldn't be a big enough name to pull pack openings or be worth putting in like a fan favorite promo or something. But just some of these younger guys that won't get cards, then give them like, you know, a pink diamond to even an opal. I mean, it's a good time of the year to start giving out opals pretty liberally. So I think that'd be like what I would want to see most.
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job with the last spotlights as well. I think like John Ball was good for the time. You know, West was good. B-Roy was good. They're all usable cards. The last spotlights were decent. I don't know how it's going to go. The blog is weird. The blog that 2K put out, because they literally say, well, Spotlight Sims are going to come back. And then it says, what will the reward be, ? And then it starts talking about basketballs, like holographic balls and fireballs.
It might just be the basketballs.
Like, that's my concern. Like, if you read it, if you actually read it, that's how it reads.
No, they're not. They won't. There's no way that they put the fireball behind a 25, 30-hour grind. Maybe they will. I don't know. It'd be pretty ridiculous if they do. But
we'll just be playing the same Spotlight Sims game for like 1,000 games, hoping RNG kicks in and we get a basketball at the end of it. That's how it goes. All right. Last question is from Tim.
Hey guys, Tim here. Just want to let you know I did make the All-Star team in baseball when I was 12. What is your guys' greatest sports achievement IRL? Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
I'll
start that off.
Shout out to Tim. That's a dope question.
Yeah, there's one. That's what I've been looking for too. By the way, people, I want questions like that. Get us out there thinking just anything else apart from 2K. But for me, it's my team won like a nationals secondary schools for basketball back in 2012. So that's my greatest sporting achievement.
You play basketball IRL?
Yeah. I used to be able to dunk like really good. I used to be able to do 360s and I used to be able to dunk really good.
What am I hearing? Who is this guy? Who is this guy?
I'm 6'1". I'm not small as, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool. What's your greatest IRL sports achievement, guys?
For me, so like I ran track in college, but track was never my favorite. I love track, but basketball was always my main. We had a 20-game regular season my senior year on varsity, and out of those 20 games, I had 2 game winners. So both of those were pretty special, especially because one of them was against like a team where like we did not get along with the team whatsoever, and it was even like it was more personal than that. It was there was some personality clashes between us and that school, and even me personally. And I made a floater with like 2 seconds left in a tie game right over top of somebody who personally did not like me very much and was also like 7 inches taller than me. So that nice. One's definitely, I think that was probably the best shot I've ever hit in my life. I like that one a lot, to say the least.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Josh, you play sports?
I used to when I was younger. Like it's just like when I was like 11 or 12, and then I lost all my athleticism because I just couldn't be bothered anymore. But I wouldn't really say it's like my biggest achievement, but it kind of coincides with what's happening now. I was a goalkeeper for playing football, and I got most improved player. And obviously now Julius Randle might get most improved player. So I don't know. Kind of coincides with kind of coincides with each other. So
yeah, the sides are there. Okay, so my IRL sports background. So I played a lot of sports like in high school. I played most sports, to be honest. I was pretty much out every day playing a different sport until I was probably 19, 20 years old. My main sport was cricket. You guys know what that is?
Jeez.
Jacob, how much do you know about cricket?
I've seen pictures of people playing it.
Keep it that way. Let me just say, you got to keep it that way, bro. You keep it that way. As little knowledge as you have on the game, you keep it that way. You don't even need to know.
So I was really good at cricket. I played at county level. I was one of the fastest bowlers in the country under 16 years old. I was bowling 85 miles an hour as a 16-year-old. I was like a cricket prodigy. I actually tore like 3 muscles in my back, and it just ended my cricket career when I was 18. And it was from playing too much cricket. Ironically, that's what ended it for me. But yeah,
because bowling's pretty like you're really explosive too. That's why. So
yeah, I mean, I went to a university because it was a school of excellence for cricket. But on a side note, my favorite thing at the moment is going into people streaming MLB and just putting the words, "Is this cricket?"
Literally, the way to describe cricket is you hit the ball, but you run towards the bowler. That's the best way. That's the best way to describe
I hate
it.
the fact that people think it's like a really weak sport. I've broken all my fingers playing cricket. Like getting a ball thrown at your head at 90 miles an hour is no joke. Like,
It's not. It's a hard sport.
If someone hits that ball back at you at 100 miles an hour, you got to break your fingers to catch it. Like
it's just boring. It's just for me personally, it's just boring as.
It is dead. It is dead. It's a dead sport.
Just watching it.
Cool, guys. I think we're done. This has been an awesome podcast, man. Thank you guys for hanging out. We definitely went way over what we were supposed to do. I think that's because every question led to 8 other questions from ourselves. It was a good time. It was a good time.
I just want to say personally, thank you guys for the questions. Those were all really good questions. I didn't really expect them to be as open-ended and as fun to discuss. I didn't know how that would go because this is my first episode on with the questions in that format. I think you should keep it, Jazz. It's pretty good.
Thanks, Ben.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it. What were you expecting?
I don't know. Do you think that Pistol Peter Luca is better in NBA 2K My Team? Like, I don't know. Just like dumb ones. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, they're great, man. Like, there's a few questions that don't make it on each week.
I'll be honest. I was expecting do you think I can get Dark Matter Vince Carter yet on level 4?
yeah. Sure. Can I still get D-Rob from Josh? Thank you, guys. I'm glad you had fun. Yeah, I echo those thoughts. Thank you so much for sending in the questions, guys. Please get in some questions for next week. A special shout out as well, because we literally had a few hour turnaround between the new content dropping and the podcast dropping, and we got like loads of questions at that time. It was really cool. Thank you so much, guys. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We're definitely going to get you guys on again soon. You guys have fun?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It
was blessed.
All right. Please like and subscribe, all of that usual stuff. Until next time, thanks for watching, guys.